And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. It's Lakers Late Night, everyone. Just me solo for today. Joe Soro is going to be out for today because he said he couldn't make it. But it's, of course, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching this. We truly appreciate it. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights in the house. Yo! Go ahead and make sure you check out his channel right away. Plus, also, as well, of course, I host the Pop Culture Cosmos, which covers the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. On our latest episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos, we talk big Marvel news, the future for late night television, and will anyone still go to Comic-Con later this week with Marvel and DC not being there? We go ahead and talk about all that and more right there for you at the Pop Culture Cosmos. Don't forget Joe Soro. He did have on the Dodgers game earlier today, which big shout out to Vari and Xbox, who covered the playback.tv/Joe Soro experiment for the Dodgers games, plus Joe Soro's thoughts on the Joe Soro channel whenever he gets the chance. Yes, I know they've lost again. They're in quite a bit of a funk, have been for a little while. Hopefully they will find some sort of offense here sooner rather than later. I know the trade deadline is coming up here in a few days, so I know that a lot of Dodgers fans are going to keep their keen eye on who the Lakers will buy into next to see if they can go ahead and cure their ills at this point in time. Amazing late night, and G shows up. Sorry, Tough. I wanted to go ahead and say, for you, Tough, I'm going to go ahead and email you about some information, see requests back and forth so I can see what I can do about trying to get that shirt in your hands here in a little bit. But we'll go ahead and chat on the email here, LakersFastBreak@yahoo.com here in the not too distant future. But I did say I would do a show. I promised Dean, I think it's a newer viewer. He asked if we could have another show today. I thought about it for a second at the time on the air, and I said, sure. So for Dean, I'm doing this for you, man, and for everyone out there. Hopefully you have enjoyed your day earlier today. By the way, like and subscribe. Make sure you go ahead and hit that notifications for all of us right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Want to go ahead and just ask you guys out there if you got a chance earlier today to see the statements that were made by Marcus Smart, who stopped by the Segundo UCLA Health Facility to go ahead and talk about, of course, how he got recruited by Luka Doncic because he is now a member officially of the Los Angeles Lakers. He was there today, so very happy to see that everything went through right there for him. What's up, Serge? Great to have you here, my friend. Marcus Smart is now a Laker. He again at the team facility answering questions about what he says that he thinks his team is all about, what he likes, and how he was brought onto the team or coerced into agreeing to terms with the Los Angeles Lakers. So I was very happy to see him saying all the right things. I know that he says that he will not be the most popular guy in town when he heads back to Boston, but at this point in his career, he's got to make certain decisions. And since Boston did not look like they were going to go ahead and give him the same kind of need for having him come back on the team because they're not in a win. I don't want to say win now, but a closer to winning situation there than they were before. I think he had to look for alternatives, and I know a lot of people are glad that the Lakers are the place that he wants to be. For at least now, anyways, because it is a 2-year, $11 million deal. Second-year player option, so we will see how long he will stay here as a member of the Lakers. But that all depends on how much Marcus Smart has left. And that's something I want to hear you guys on. Because as you've been hearing Joe, you've probably been hearing other guys. You've been Magic on Joe Soro's channel. You've probably been listening to a lot of feedback from other Lakers channels out there. You've been probably listening to a lot of feedback from NBA analysts on the good and the possibly not so good of Marcus Smart being on the Los Angeles Lakers, I'd say it's a flyer. Take the flyer on a former Defensive Player of the Year. I know Chris Mannix from Sports Illustrated, he had some pointed thoughts. He thinks he can still help the Lakers. He is not the same individual that he was in the year that he won Defensive Player of the Year. And I would not say he was. I don't think anybody here in this conversation or who watches this video can say he's not what he used to be. He's 31 years old, so he still has, I believe, something left in the tank. But where he fits in, we'll have to go ahead and discuss that today. He said he's pumped up. Yes, Tom. It was nice to see his enthusiasm, to see that he's now out of the Washington Wizards purgatory, a team where he may be able to compete for a high playoff spot per se. Serge, always great to have you here again, monitoring everything out there. Hernan, great to have you here as well. Does Smart help Bronny's game excel more due to the fact that he's a defensive hard-nosed vet and some similarities there? I would say if I was Bronny James, I would go ahead and take many lessons under the wing and under the arm of Marcus Smart. I know that question, if it really wasn't elaborated on now, it will be brought up as far as looking to him as a mentor situation for at least the year. And if he is smart, Bronny is smart, he can take some lessons from Marcus Smart as far as one thing that Marcus Smart can bring. He brings a wealth of experience to the Los Angeles Lakers and a defensive acumen that even if his body cannot do everything that he used to do, he can still be able to work with his teammates to show him what made him successful. And as Joe mentioned, as far as one of the few guards ever in the past few decades to receive Defensive Player of the Year honors. So I think Tim's here. Great to have you here, Tim. He says, I think Smart can definitely help us. I think he can. First, he has to stay on the court because that's the first thing that comes to mind because his career has taken a tailspin. I think everybody here can admit to that. His career in the past 2 seasons, since he was shipped out by Boston, he was persona non grata. It's funny because the other guy hot in the rumor bed, again, if you watch some of the other Laker channels that are on today, tried to really find a place for Jrue Holiday. I see the similar pathway in many ways as far as Jrue Holiday and how he was sent away by Boston as a couple years ago Marcus Smart was, only for Marcus Smart to be replaced at that time by Jrue Holiday. Now it worked for them because they won a world title out of it. So you really can't fault them for making that move. But at this point, what does Marcus Smart have left? We're going to find out. He's going to be playing for a new contract. He's going to be playing for a multi-year contract. And in order to do that, he's got to play 65, 70 games at least of good, hard-nosed defense. He has to shoot close to 35%. If he's going to chuck and this is what makes Magic Man Sean Grice, I think, a little bit skittish on the signing, is the fact that he's been well known, especially during his time in Boston, as someone who's been very, friendly with the three-point shot and not exactly the most accurate at it. You can take a look at his numbers, but yes, I know that Boston fans, if you talk to them, have talked about over the years sometimes his ability to, or his, wanting to go ahead and take many shots, which are not always directed by the coaching staff. Well, at this point in time, again, if he gets close to 35%, I would be very, very happy with that, because the fact at this stage of his career, him shooting at a 35% ratio would be among one of his best seasons of his career. And I think he can still play defense at a good level. I know Chris Mannix had also mentioned that he can no longer play against one. I think he can still play against certain ones, but I agree at this stage of his career, can he still guard the elite guards that are out there, the SGAs, I know he mentioned other people as well, De'Aaron Fox and things of that nature. I don't know if he can guard at that level, but I know he could guard Definitely some athletic guards as far as two guards, maybe even a threes. He can guard there out there in the perimeter probably better than anyone else the Lakers currently have, in my opinion, even if it's not at the level it once was. So I think it is going to be a benefit for the Lakers. I know that a lot of people are talking about slotting him into the starting spot ahead of Rui or ahead of Reeves. I know that's been mentioned. We've mentioned it on this show. I'm not as keen on that, but I'll go that in a second here. I want to answer some of your comments and keep with you on that. Serge says Smart is used to the bright lights in Boston and he thrived. He did. Again, up into his defensive player of the year. The year after that, I think they kind of started to wear thin, a little bit thin. Serge, from what I've seen and what I observed, kind of wore thin after that. And he found himself, as far as playing himself out of Boston and moved on and shipped on to Memphis, and it kind of went downhill from there. But again, I think he has the ability to regroup that. And as long as the expectations are not too insurmountable, I think he can have a really solid year and a chance to make another multi-year contract for him because he'll be only 32 going into next summer. Vamp says, and welcome, Vamp. Truly appreciate it. Hope you like and subscribe. Do you think Jrue Holiday has a chance to be a Laker? That's the question I know a lot of people have been asking. And I mentioned it the other day. No, CCG. Joe said he's out, and most of the guys on the East Coast they're night. So I just thought I made a commitment to Dean. So for Dean, I said we would come on with the show tonight. So I said we're going to go ahead and do that. So yes, no ranting Joe tonight. Sorry, CCG. You got just me tonight. But to answer your question on Jrue, because I know Lakers in 5 and other channels and the LeBron wires and the Bleacher Reports of the world, they started talking about Jrue Holiday as a possibility. And I got to say, if they go that route for a player that I think is in steeper decline than even Marcus Smart, I think that would be asking a lot right now. Because again, he is 35 years old. He's 4 years older than Marcus Smart. And you're going to ask that guy to pay $32 million, then another $34.8 million after that, then a player option at 37 years old at $37.2 million after that. So that's over $100 million. $100 million. Xbox, if you want to come on the show, man, let me know. I didn't send the link because Joe said he was out tonight, so I figured everybody out. But Mark, if you want to stop on by, I'd love to have you on, man. I figured during the week. You said you're always busy during the week with work. But yeah, because Search, he's always busy during the week. He's doing his thing where he's like, he's got that work job though, telling people that, I can't help you out. I'm sorry. Can't help you out. Sorry. Can't help you out. I'm sorry. But no, just kidding you, Xbox. But yeah, if you want to come on the show, hit me up, brother. But I did want to send out as far as my thoughts on Jrue Holiday because remember, with the Lakers and their plan, the Lakers have not gone all in this summer. They've been very opportunistic about the players that they brought on. And in doing so, they've really set themselves up to where 2026 and 2027, they would be more likely to be able to, as Joe said, he's still thinking the big fish will be out there or somebody will want to come play with Luka. I'm not so certain of it because everything has to fall in line for that to happen. But the Lakers at least will have cap space in 2027. So to get back to your original question in regards to Jrue Holiday, my friend, truly appreciate again you joining us like that. And I did send out the link, Xbox, if you guys are interested, Xbox or whoever's still awake at that time right now, if you want to go ahead and do that. But yeah, if you guys want to go ahead and talk about Jrue Holiday, I think you really have to go ahead and put yourself in check because the fact is that's $100+ million still owed to Jrue Holiday for a guy that's really on the downside of his career. His defense abilities are not one thing once they once were. It's like we talked about with Marcus Smart. But Marcus Smart only costs us $5.5 million and $11 million if he goes ahead and accepts the second year. Whereas a player of similar ilk in Jrue Holiday would cost us $100+ million. So vamped, with the mindset that Rob and current management has on keeping the books open for 2027, I think the chance of Jrue Holiday is probably, if they're smart, slim to none. If that's the case, 3 years, $100+ million for a guy on the downside of his career who is not shooting very well and didn't shoot very well last season in Boston. I just don't see it as a good fit. If you're going to go ahead and get someone of that type of ilk and that type of player, I think Marcus Smart is the replacement for Jrue Holiday. Instead of getting Jrue Holiday, you've got a much less costly version right there. So I think that would be a much better deal for the Lakers. Now, if Portland were willing to waive and stretch Jrue Holiday, like that seems to be the fashion trend that's going on in the NBA, that's still $20 million for them to waive. If they did it right now, that's $20 million a year for the next 5 years sitting on your books. So if you got Portland, that would be doing that. You have already Phoenix that's done it. They're going to be sitting on $20 million a year for the next few years for Bradley Beal. And then also as well, Damian Lillard's contract in Milwaukee, they're sitting on that for what, $22.5 million, if I remember correctly, for the next 5 years. That's a lot of cash. So Portland wants to waive and stretch Jrue Holiday's contract. Okay, if you want to pick him up on the cheap, vamped. But yeah, I would really lean against it, because unless you're getting him on a cheap contract like you are Marcus Smart, I would probably say I would try to avoid it at all costs. Unless, again, he comes in the cheap. The Lakers do have one spot open, and they can sign him for the veterans minimum. If that's the case, by all means. But I have a feeling if he gets waived and stretched, since the Lakers already got Marcus Smart, I would say he'd probably want to go onto another team or in another direction. That would probably be my assessment. But Raymond, smart move. Yeah, it's a smart move for Marcus Smart. I think, again, it's a low risk, high reward type situation. And again, he's got all the incentive, like many other Lakers on this team, where they can see the pot of gold, so to speak, at the end of the rainbow next summer if they play well. So him, DeAndre Ayton, Rui Hachimura, Maxi Kleber, Gabe Vincent, and of course Austin Reeves all have a lot of money on the line next summer if they play well this upcoming season. So the incentivization is there for them to stay healthy. And imagine that, Raymond, and everybody out there. Just monitor how healthy a guy like Kleber or Smart will be as compared to their previous seasons. It'd be just interesting to see if that proves to be the case, because guys seemingly are a little bit healthier, or they play with more injuries. They toughen out a little bit more as it gets closer to the end of the contract. Just saying. I'm just saying. But yeah, Jrue Holiday, I would in his current contract situation, I would heavily advise against picking up Jrue Holiday, because that defies everything that the Lakers have done this season. What Rich Paul, however you want to criticize Rich Paul, however we want to criticize or say what about LeBron's passive aggressiveness, they are right on one thing, that the Lakers do have two timelines, and we've seen it with what they've done this summer. They've been able to get a center. They've been able to get perimeter defense. They've been able to get someone as far as bodies in exchange for DFS. But I just don't feel like they've gone all out. I just don't feel like they've made enough changes or done enough things to suggest that they're going all in for this season. And by doing that, they are still targeting like the Clippers are conveniently, and other teams. Cap space open in 26, of course, when LeBron's $52.6 million plus the other expiring contracts as well. If they don't bring them back, then you also have 2027 on the horizon as well if you decide to keep the books even open even longer. So it just looks to be and appears to be two timelines that the Lakers are following. Like, try and make the team best, trying to make the team the best that you can now without sacrificing your future. And we'll see what happens there. Raymond says no Jrue. Celtics got rid of him for a good reason. Yeah, that they have no incentive to go ahead and keep Jrue Holiday. Jrue Holiday, downside of his career, also as well, again, not shooting very well at this point of his career, and he can't play defense like he once did, and he's still got $100 million. I still don't know how Portland accepted that trade. Did they must have really wanted to get rid of Simons really badly in order to go ahead and take on $100 million in contracts, because Simons is coming off the books this year unless Boston extends him for some reason. So yeah, that's just, I just don't get it. I just don't honestly get it. If you're trying to bring in a good atmosphere, I get it. I understand, because Jrue Holiday is a really great teammate. He's one of those guys that are great in the locker room, but $100 million for great in the locker room, I think you guys and I could be a great guy as far as cheerleaders and locker room type deal, as far as that's concerned, for a whole lot less than $100 million. I'll just say that for sure. I mean, if you want me to do a rah-rah stuff like that, okay, I'll do like 10 mil. How about that? How about that indeed? But Search and Destroy says we're not chip ready. We need a miracle. Yeah, Search, when you look at the team, our team is competitive. Our team is competitive. I know that Xbox, I've spoken to a couple times in the past week. He's really high on the team, and more power to him. I think what I see now out of this team, as far as the overall depth of this roster, it's a little deeper than last year's team, which had no depth, as we saw. The second worst bench production in the entire NBA, as a matter of fact. I think it's a little better now that Marcus Smart is here. There's still no, unless Jake LaRavia really starts to find a groove, there's still no premium scorer coming off the bench. The shooter, Dalton Connect, the best shooter that we have, although if Jake LaRavia shoots like he did last season in Memphis, that would be a big win if he could shoot close to 45%. Or is it closer to the 38% that he shot in Sacramento? We'll have to wait and see. But when it comes to Dalton, he was supposed to be hopefully that scorer coming off the bench that's going to light things up. But at this point, we don't know what kind of psyche this kid has right now after his poor performance in Summer League. So I'm very concerned about what he will be able to do for the Lakers going forward, and if he has any value going forward in a trade, if that's going to be the case. Search and Destroy says Braun isn't getting younger. Yeah, he isn't getting any younger. He's going to be 41 years old, and I think that playing him 65, 70 games, maybe around 30 minutes, 32 minutes would be the best and most ideal situation, making sure he has at least 10 games off during the season. I'm hoping that's the case, that he'll stick to it. But LeBron, he wants to be LeBron. So whether or not he's going to be playing at full tilt, or he's going to be able to go ahead and make sure that he's going to save himself something for the playoffs because he's ran out of gas in recent playoffs, is going to be up to him. Because, again, it's always up to LeBron as far as LeBron's overall health is concerned. So that concerns me very much. Someone says, Gerald, would you like GP2? Yeah, I think GP2 can still give you something, especially on the defensive end and the perimeter. On that, it would help solidify you more. Could shoot 30 to 35%. I should shoot about 35% from three on the corners for you. I still would prefer an Intel. He's watching from behind, so he'll see this here in a few minutes. I still think that Amir Coffey is probably the best player available out there as far as the available free agents. Not restricted. Not restricted. Unrestricted free agents that are out there, I still would shoot for some Amir Coffey because what I've seen from the kid over the course of his short tenure in the NBA, I think the kid at 6'7", little more versatility, and then again, he not a bad shot from him as far as his productivity, and he scored just about as much. It's so weird because he scored, I believe, more points per game than Jake LaRavia. Jake LaRavia has the nice contract of 2 years, $6 million per year, I think, if memory serves. But Amir Coffey seems to be still watching, and I would fire my agent at this point in time. I would fire my agent indeed because I thought he would already be on an NBA team right now, and since he's not, it's going to be interesting to see where he goes because I think he actually has the ability to play at an NBA level and play on an NBA rotation. On the Lakers rotation, yeah, definitely. If the Lakers got him tomorrow, he would have a chance to make and earn minutes on their Lakers rotation right now. Search and Destroy says, I call him Jake Lasagna. Well, I hope, Search, that he doesn't play like Lasagna. Because remember, I've said before, Jake LaRavia, he got drafted by Memphis when he came into the league, and the first 2 years were less than productive, to say it nicely. They were so unproductive that, like with JHS, he got the final year, or in case of JHS's case, the final years, but he got the final year taken away from him on his rookie contract. So last year, essentially, the reason why he became an unrestricted free agent is because he got his last year rookie contract taken away because Memphis had lost faith in him. Now, he took note of that. He took note of that and started playing like the player that they had drafted. And you saw the results of that. Much more athletic on the perimeter. He provided a little bit even better rebounding than before. But most importantly, he shot at that time for his games last season behind the arc 44% from three. So that's obviously a good win for the Lakers if they can get that player. Now, kind of tailed off a little bit when he was traded to Sacramento, but he was still shooting at a 38% three-point shooting clip. And the reason why I'm emphasizing so much on that is because the Lakers, again, do not have an abundance of shooters. Good, consistent shooters around LeBron and Luka, which is something of a need. And someone I'd probably say that would be my biggest concern if you had to tell me, and right now, having someone that can play both sides of the ball effectively at this point, trying to get them this late in the game is going to be hard. But if you had to give me as far as something, I'd probably say if you could find a 3-and-D wing, that'd be great. But the 3 has to be there because absolutely the Lakers need shooters, especially if Dalton Connect cannot give you what you thought he could give you, what he in spots last season he gave you. So yeah, there he is. No, Jeremy. He said he was not able to make it. Maybe he's still crying over the Dodgers loss, but no, he's not coming on today. I just thought I'd pop in because I made a commitment to Dean. I said we would be on tonight. And for Dean and for all you guys out there, I said we'd go ahead and do something for you. So I'm here tonight for the rest of the hour, and we'll see how it works out. But yeah, Search, this is what this team is a see if it works out. But again, I will credit Rob Pelinka. I know I've been hard on Rob Pelinka as far as calling him not the greatest of GMs, et cetera, et cetera. Take a look at his history up and down as far as his player evaluations and whatnot. Dean, yes, did this show for you, buddy. I told you asked if we would do one. I did. I'm doing it tonight for you, my friend. But I wanted to say again, I will give him credit. If he does have the 2 timeline deal where magically, like Joe says, that somebody will want to come play with Luka in 2027, I'm hoping he's right on that. I mean, the Lakers name, the Lakers brand, Luka Doncic, if he's here, which, again, from what I'm seeing and the fact that he helped recruit Smart is a positive sign. He may be leaning towards signing an extension contract next month when it's offered to him here in 2-3 weeks or whatnot. I am hopeful that he will do so. I'm now more positive on that. Now, financially, it's in his best interest to do it next year, but if he wants to do it this year, by all means, that'd be great. Jeremy said, yeah, I think we need daily shows, Jerry. That would be great. Well, I don't know if every day I'll be on here right now during the off season, because I don't want to overload you guys with the same subject matter each and every day. It gets boring for you guys, but it also gets boring for us. I always want to make sure you guys get from us fresh takes, and also, that you have us on our best ability to go ahead and communicate with you guys. So Brad says he will sign. I hope he does. I really hope he does. Again, financially, we saw with Jokic, he turned down his option to go ahead and take that extension this summer because it's going to be much more financially lucrative for him. Now, if Luka does that, as far as accepts his offer here in a couple weeks, then that will mean he's going to send a message to everyone in the NBA that he wants to be in LA. He's appreciative of being in LA, but also I think he wants to stick it to Dallas as well. I think he's going to make a point. This is, as Joe said, before the Luka Doncic vengeance tour, I think is in play. I think the fact that he's in really good shape says something. I know that the Las Vegas odds here, if you have him on your MVP ballot, I think you should strongly consider going ahead and putting money on him, as far as just $5, $10, seeing what it plays for you, because there's a great possibility that this could be a good season for him. And if that's the case, Intel says, I'll be in Vegas in August and October. I'll just shake your hand, Podfather. Intel, I think I will be gone in August from the 5th to the 13th, I think, in that range. But if you're going to be here in mid to late August, I'll be here. And in October, I'll be here. Yeah, kids are in school and all that. So yeah, that's no problem here. I'd be glad to shake your hand as well, my friend. I would love to meet you in person. You've been so gracious to us. I know we've always gone back and forth on some things, but you've always been very kind and gracious to us, and I would be truly indebted to shake your hand as well. Dean said, we need this during the workhouse. And you're in Australia. All right. That's right. I forgot. You're another Australian. Joe considers himself an honorary Australian. We've got Vari, aka Sports Baby. You got Mark, aka Xbox. There are Australians out there. Big shout out to Aussie, who is on Facebook all the time with us. I've met Aussie in person here when he was here in Vegas. Him and his family were tremendous. So I'm truly was blessed to go ahead and meet them. Yeah, all the Australians have been absolutely great. I don't know if they're great to each other, as I've seen with Vari and Sports Baby and Xbox, but the Australians have always been gracious to us, and we cannot thank them enough for doing so. Jeremy says, I think we agree finally on the Amir Coffee. Yeah, just again, from what I've seen, Jeremy, he would be the player I would actually sign with the veterans minimum if he were interested in that. But the question is, does Rob want to lead that final roster spot open? Because in case something comes available that's a little juicier, or if a trade offer comes by that you need to pick up that extra roster spot. I have a feeling Rob may want to keep that roster spot open, because that's what a lot of GMs do, at least going into the latter part of the season. Then they try to fill up all the roster spots so that they have a full roster going forward in the playoffs. Jeremy, why are there so many Aussies on this channel? Jeremy, Aussie himself, that's right. Big Jeremy. Sorry about that, my friend. Didn't mean to diss you at all. Yes, so many great Australians on this channel. Maybe the word gets out, man. We are just so blessed. Again, I've had people from all over the world watch this channel, and I'm truly thankful for it. Wherever you're, whether in South America, whether you're in Canada, whether in Europe, we've heard people back and forth from Asia. We've heard from the Philippines, Japan. I've heard one time as well, and then also, of course, all our good friends in New Zealand and Australia as well. Do you know the Aussie arm wrestler? I don't per se, but maybe these guys do, because they're They're always up on their Australians, man, because these guys are great. Whether it's Vari, aka Sports Baby, Mark, aka Xbox, Jeremy, Aussie, and now Dean. Great to have you guys all here. Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Yeah, Jeremy, that's a tough issue, and I'm going to put this on screen for you guys out there. What are you hearing about Westbrook, Jerry? I'm thinking that it's starting to run its course, where even when he was playing with Denver, you had the good and you have the not good, so good. Can he still play? Yes, he can still play. Obviously, you see he had games and had moments in time where he looks like a credible NBA player with the ability to score. But the fact is, you have to take the good with the bad. Raymond from the Philippines. Salamat. Appreciate you watching, my friend. Antarctica listeners out there. Search, you're crazy. When it comes to Westbrook, yeah, Westbrook is you live by the Westbrook, you die by the Westbrook. And there, that Denver series where he kept them in games and got them right out of it as well. I think that's something where if you want to age, if you're a coach or 10 years, then you go ahead and get Westbrook. Like I said, if Mark was the GM or coach of the Los Angeles Lakers or another team and says, you know what, I don't need my deliciously lovely black hair anymore. I want it to all turn gray and white like Gerald's. I'm just going to go ahead and get Westbrook on the team. There you go. Absolutely. Just get Westbrook on your team, Jeremy. Absolutely. And watch your hair turn instantly gray because of all the stress Westbrook gives you. Yes, he can still make the great play. He can still score in bunches. But the things he does that just drive you up a wall, there's a reason why he ran himself out of the Lakers with both Braun and AD. Not wanting to. They had their fill of Westbrook, and they got him on the team. With Kawhi and PG. Oh, yeah, let's get Westbrook on the Clippers. Yeah, you saw how that worked out as well. Goodbye, Westbrook. Goodbye. And then Jokic. Oh, I want. Yeah, how did that work out as well? There's reasons why, Jeremy. There's reasons why, Jeremy. You do not want to go ahead and experience the Westbrook experience unless you really need a point guard. But here today is my good friend, indeed, from a beautiful land down under, hopefully having a Vegemite sandwich at some point in time. And that is a thing, guys, out there. It's not just a part of a lyric or a line from a Men at Work song. It is a real thing out there. It is Marky Mark, a.k.a. Xbox. Great to have you here, my friend. Just truly cannot thank you enough. I didn't think anybody was going to be. I know you're working, so that's why I never like to bother you during the week. But Joe said he was out, and the guys on the East Coast, it's nap time for them. But I promised Dean I would be here, and that I am. Can you hear me, my friend? I cannot hear you yet. Yeah, you're still silent to me. No. Yeah, still work on it. We'll get you, my friend. We'll get you. Intel Wild says for Gerald, a.k.a. the MF Podfather. Well, thank you, Intel. Thank you, Intel, for the super chat. Keep trying, my friend. Hopefully, we'll get Mark on here. Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is truly great to have you here. It is Gerald Glassford. Cannot thank you enough for stopping by. Truly appreciate it. Again, looking forward to still talking to you a little bit more about Marcus Smart, and hopefully we get Mark back in here to do so. Yeah, he's muted. That happens every night. But again, I did not plan to go and bring anybody on because I thought everybody was busy. How about now, my friend?
I can hear you. It's working now.
Yes, yeah? There you go. All good, my friend. All good. Great to have you here. Again,
yeah, appreciate it.
I'm always worried about asking you because it's during the week for you.
I know.
And I know, as you always say, that you're busy working, telling people, no, I can't give you this. No, I can't give you that. Bye. Get out of my face.
Loan denied.
Exactly. Yeah. Denied.
Foreclosure on the house.
Exactly. Yeah.
Favorite few words.
Exactly. Indeed. But it is, of course, Mark, a.k.a. Xbox. Marcus Smart is now a Laker. He was there at the El Segundo facility talking great things about how Luka recruited him, et cetera, what he can still bring to the team, how Boston will hate him when he goes back there and all that. Because Boston fans are livid that he's going there. It's like, oh man, you can't go there. Well, okay, so you don't want him to take
Yeah, it's like,
$11 million, possibly?
yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Why'd you trade the
okay.
bloke?
Are
You're
are
so
you
keen
going
on
to
him.
pay him the $5.5 million instead of not going to the Lakers? Yeah, that's what I thought. So be that
Yeah,
as it,
no, and Gerald, I spoke about that actually today with Sean and Vari on Ox's playback. And shout out to Joe. I know he's busy, but shout out to the chat too, man. Like I just jumped on. There's some lovely messages. Yeah, everyone's so nice. In the main in this group. So shout out to the regulars and everyone that's joining us for the first time. But yeah, for me, Gerald, man, I love it. Like Marcus Smart, he's going to be more motivated than ever. So we've got a motivated Aiton, we've got a motivated Smart, we've got a motivated Luca. Hopefully, LeBron James is motivated in one of his last years on the court. So there's a lot of motivation there, and there's a lot of upside. I reckon. I firmly believe Marcus Smart in Memphis, that was just a bust. Once Jar went down, I know we thought, okay, Jar goes down, Marcus Smart comes in for him. It wasn't like that. They essentially tanked after that. And he had his own injuries and what have you, Gerald. Then he goes to Wizards, was playing okay until they shut him down. He looks like he might have put on a little bit of weight, maybe potentially from not playing regularly. But dude, I mean, it's go back 3 years ago. The guy was a defensive player of the year. It's not like he's now 36 years of age. He did that when he was 33. He's still in a pretty sweet spot. So hopefully that motivation can really do something to him. And that's sort of the Boston, Boston essentially, he felt like a Boston kid with his green hair and all that. And they kicked him out because they thought he was the weak link in a championship team. Hey, turned out to be. But man, come join Lakers. And if you get a chip with the Lakers, man, it's worth 100 times more than your chip with Boston. So let's see, man. I'm really happy with it.
but
Obviously, they had to make the trade for who they got, Jrue and all that. We understand that. But Joe, it's not sorry, Gerald, it's, for getting him for nothing, it's a great pickup. And the fact that you mentioned before, Luka was involved with this. So if Luka's recruiting players for the team, it's a good sign. It's better than Luka essentially being, in the shadows and not doing all this. He's saying all the right things. He's saying he wants to bring a chip to the city. Okay, he didn't choose to play here, but now he's here. He wants to be one of those guys that brings the chip. So, yeah, man, like, I know, yeah, I am possibly too bullish, and this is how often I get in the off seasons. I get very excited, but the thing that keeps exciting me, and Searchy sort of mentioned before, and you said it as well, we're not a chip team right now, but did you really think OKC was a chip team at the start of last year? Were you guaranteeing them they
I
were going to
picked
be
them
a
for the
chip team?
finals, so
That's a good
I think.
start, but
But then again,
you pick
I
Luca
was
for the
right on
finals?
one finals team. Well, admittedly, I was right on one finals team with
Yeah,
OKC. I was dead wrong on
on the
Philadelphia
other.
as
Well,
the other. That went to crap really really quick with those guys as far as their
you
injuries
can't
are
rely on
concerned.
them, can you? But
Not anymore. I'm not being fooled by that again when
no,
it comes to
of
Embiid and
course,
all that.
Gerald.
But there is a question for you by Jeremy here in a second. But I wanted to touch on one thing again. JSJ, unless it's a buyout, I would not even get close to Jrue Holiday. $100 million is left on his contract. Unless Portland waives and stretches him, I don't think anyone wants that contract. I don't
No,
understand even why. You can't even explain to me why you gave up an expiring contract in Anthony Simons for Jrue Holiday. I'm still trying to find the rationale in
yeah.
why they would want to take that kind of money on at this stage of the game. Yeah, but only on a buyout. But even if he was bought out, why would the Lakers have him? He's so much like Marcus Smart at this stage. A guy on the, well, you said there's a lot left in tank, but in the case of Jrue Holiday, he's 3 years older. No, 4
Yeah.
years older. 4 years older than Marcus Smart. and you're asking him to do the same things he once did 2, 3, 4 years ago. And that's a hard thing to ask. Plus, like Marcus Smart, his shot throughout the course of his career has not been reliable. And it got less reliable in Boston, which is the reason why they sent him packing in the first place. So JSJ, he fits the same roles, fits the same needs. He has the same functions at this same the career as Marcus Smart. And I would say if you're going to take one or the other, maybe Marcus Smart, if he's healthy, is the better player right now. So I don't think that would be good. I think you're just that's repetition. That's the same player fitting the same needs, fitting the same hole. It would not be a wise decision to get even on a buyout Jrue Holiday at this stage of his career, Mark.
No, like and Holiday's. I mean, he sort of needs to start too, Gerald. He's more of a starting point guard that feels out the game for me. If we're just basing it on someone that's coming off the bench and can add more important bench minutes, including defense, it's got to be Marcus Smart. Obviously, Jrue Holiday's had the better career and has been, had a better at the top of his form in his career. He's been a better player than Marcus Smart at his peak. Sorry, that's what I meant. But at the same time, no, not for me. Like, unless we can get him for free, you're not doing, a buyout or whatever you say it. You're not doing anything to trade for Jrue Holiday, especially when we've got, the team as presently constructed with, the potential to move forward in 2026 and 2027 with other trades. I think it would be insane to make that, to make a trade for him. But that's just my personal opinion. He seems like a nice guy in that. I think I saw a little bit of a slowdown in his play for Boston last year. I know he was injured a bit, but he didn't look like the same Jrue Holiday to me. Whether or not that was because he played at the Olympics and things, not sure. But he's a non-factor. We've heard his name sort of bandied about this summer for us, but yeah, I don't see it happening. And it doesn't make sense with Luka in the team as well. You've got AR who's a ball handler as well, Gerald, and don't we still have Gabe Vincent? Isn't he lurking around as well? So
we need shooters. We
yeah.
need shooters on this team now because you look at it. I don't know if you guys count Laravia as a 40% shooter. I mean, statistically, between both stops last year, you could say he's a 40% shooter. Outside of him and Rui, right now, those are the only two 40% shooters, unless you talk about LeBron on a good year, because LeBron on a good year is 40%, but then he seemingly takes the next year off from behind the arc, and then he somehow magically finds his Miami stroke again. So it's again, touch and go on that. We don't know what's going on with Dalton and what's on his head. So really, can you seriously rely on him to play any minutes for us in the rotation right now with the way his head is at? I really think right now that the Lakers would need to look at more of a athletic wing that can shoot 40% from three or close to it. I said Amir Coffey. Intel gets all the credit for that because Amir Coffey kind of fits a lot of those things that the Lakers should be looking for with that final roster spot. But at this point, the more this drags itself out, Mark, the more I think that Rob is going to keep that final spot open for as long as he can.
Yeah, I think so too, Gerald. There's been talk about Matthias Thybulle, who is somehow Australian.
Score. You score better than he does.
Yeah, he's an Aussie though, but he's like an honorary Aussie. I'm pretty sure he's not born here or ever spent any time here. But
he has no offensive skill.
That'd be trash, man. I would hate to see that. As much as I'd love an Aussie on the squad, you know me, I'm pretty biased, or someone that represents Australia. Thybulle's not the answer for us. He can defend, sort of.
Yes, he
can't score. Yeah, he can defend, but he's also slowed down on that too. He's not a young man anymore. I wouldn't be just relying on his defenses. The reason you bring him in. No, absolutely not. Not when we need shooting. So that one seems a bit bizarre that's even been bandied about at the moment. But is he at a potential buyout? Is that why? Is he?
No, well, he's like 10 to 12 million. But
okay.
But the thing is, Portland, if he's a potential buyout, there are several potential buyouts on Portland. I don't know what Portland is doing. They feel, I think, the way that they finished their season so strongly and with one of the top 5 defensive teams in the latter part of the year, that they are feeling a little bit frisky. But the thing is, they have a nucleus there of Henderson, Sharp, Kamara, Advia, and Klingon. Those are all young guys that need to play together and need to be your starters going forward. You need to see if those guys could be your starters going forward. But you also have these Jrue Holidays,
It's a
these Jeremy
strange mix.
Grants,
Yeah.
Thibels,
Lillard.
Robert Williams,
Brought
you know,
Lillard
and
back.
now Damian Lillard. Why did you sign Damian Lillard when
Yeah, I
you know
don't
he's going to
know.
be out the entire? It doesn't matter how you prorate the contract. You're still signing Damian Lillard to be on your team, taking up space.
I know this
I just
sounds
don't.
stupid, but do you think he brought him in maybe from a coaching sort of
It's a
mentor?
coaching /
It has to
PR
be,
move.
obviously. Yeah,
Yeah, so
which
that's.
is
I mean, that's
bizarre.
why. But it just, I just don't get what Portland's doing. I
What
know
they're
that
doing. Yeah.
they think they're going to win. They think they can compete for a playoff spot or a play-in spot.
Mm.
I'm not sure that they can't, but I'm not sure it's in their best interest to do so. They should play those young guys, play
Yeah.
young Hansen, who looked good. Just got to get some cardio. That kid needs to put him on the treadmill now, from now until training camp, because the kid blows up after 3 minutes. He's just
Yeah.
blown up. But he is so
Can
skilled.
work on it.
He is so skilled. Nobody was denying his skill. They just thought, is he going to be able to play at an NBA level? And it looks like he can. He just needs to get better cardio. But you got to give these young guys time in Portland. And I just don't know what's going on. I don't know what the vision is there. I don't know what they're doing. They've got all this money tied up in what essentially is their bench. Their bench, is infinitely more dollars spent than their young crew and their starting lineup, which what they should have.
Yeah, that's motivating.
I don't know. Raymond said it best. Portland is a mess.
I
don't know if it's
you're
at the
right.
level. I don't know if it's at the level of Phoenix mess, but it's very close. At least Portland with that young 5 has a future. Phoenix, I don't know what they're doing. They think they're going to feel frisky here. Think they're going to play for a play-in or playoff spot. This is a team with nothing but centers and shooting guards on their team. I honestly don't know, my friend. But yeah, it's that's what the part is interesting is the teams that are run better. We're going to see, I think, matriculate over the course of the season, play a lot better. And then the Portlands, the Phoenixes, the Sacramentos of the world. I think Memphis is, I don't know. I think they're going to figure out we're going to see one more year of Ja, and then we're going to finally get an answer on Ja.
Man. Yeah.
And if they get another half year of Ja, do you think it's actually bye-bye for Ja in Memphis?
Oh, for sure. Like, I don't know. They seem to be imploding a little bit. I just, on your comment there about Portland and Portland being a mess, there is a few really badly run teams in the NBA, isn't there? Like when you look at teams like New Orleans Pelicans, Orlando, Portland, I don't know, Phoenix, the list goes on. They're run like absolute shite. And they seem like they're just there to make up the numbers. And that's what I keep thinking about this Portland thing. I mean, how bizarre is it that you wasted cap space on Damian Lillard when he can't play for a year? You got all
or
these
Holiday for $100 million.
Yeah.
You didn't even get a draft pick for him.
But it's like, is the NBA involved with that? Are they just telling him, look, you're a dumping ground? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's just seems some teams that are never going to win. I know Portland has had recent success, but how would you be being an Orlando fan, man? That's a joke. And so I don't know. Like, I just find that some of the teams are just really poorly run. They seem completely irrelevant. I mean, I'm glad we go for a team that's the exact opposite, but bizarre, man, bizarre. So I can't work that out. But at the end of the day, if we can pick up some bits and scraps from these poorly run teams will take it. But yeah, whatever, Portland, man. I don't like you. I've never liked you, and you're making stupid trades. Keep doing it. Like, that's fine.
which is going to be bad for them because right now they're in the process of trying to sell the team. Paul Allen's widow is in the process of
Always
trying
looks
to sell
good.
the team. So
Yeah.
in doing so, if you're trying to make your team look good to possible suitors, having these contracts like Grant, Williams is 12 million, but he comes off the books, or you could probably trade him if you wanted to. But Grant and Holiday and now Lillard on there, it's just I don't know. I just
Yeah.
honestly I just
The
shake my
trade for
head.
Grant was bizarre,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
all good, all good. Have you heard anything coming out of Laker land in the last 24 hours or anything like that, Gerald? I saw a interview with Austin Reeves in the last week. He looked like he was, getting quite. He looked. I was saying this to the boys today. Austin's always someone that could potentially be a little bit fitter because he doesn't have
Ate too
that.
much popcorn at the Thomas and Mack the other day
Yeah.
because that's
Oh,
my
you
daughter
noticed?
wanted to point that out when I saw him, is because that was the day
Is
that the Lakers, about 6 or 7 of the Lakers were there.
yeah,
JJ
that's
was
sick,
there, Rob
Gerald.
was there, the dab, around the
Dude,
world between LeBron was there, and all the Lakers on the front row on the opposite side of the Lakers bench all were eating popcorn, and we
popcorn. He
noticed
was
that
just
just
chilling.
Austin Reeves just digging in that box,
Man,
not
hopefully it was lightly
$4
salted.
popcorn. Yeah, digging in that box, the guys
Don't
were.
give any to Luca,
So
boys.
yeah, well,
Um,
don't get. Good thing Luca was not there, but
that's right.
if you're saying about the shape and whatnot of Austin Reeves, again, Austin Reeves has a lot of money tied up in what's going
That's
on
what I'm saying.
going forward.
Yeah,
Um,
motivation.
I know a lot of people are talking about Marcus Smart should start. Marcus Smart should start.
No way.
For who? You want to for Rui, and you want to
For
go
Luca,
3 guards?
put
Okay.
Luca off the bench.
For Reese,
Nah, that's
Reese would be
insane. We
pissed.
saw that under Ham, Gerald. I don't want a small lineup ever again like we had under Ham.
I
Patrick
think I think
Beverly, Russell Westbrook. Oh
15 to
man.
20 minutes of Smart. You 25. That's the most you should do at this point to maximize the abilities of Marcus Smart at this stage of his career. I just think that
Yeah.
if you come in here and expect Marcus Smart of 3 years ago when he won the Defensive Player of the Year, I think that's asking for too much, especially a guy who's only played 54 games in 2 years. But if you think that you can get something good out of Marcus Smart, try to be efficient with it. Again, if it helps cut down minutes for LeBron, that's the most important thing, because you've
Sure.
got to keep LeBron fresh for a playoff run. That's most
Yeah.
important thing outside of Luka. Anything else on this team, Mark?
Yeah, completely agree. And at the same time, LeBron James has got to look inside himself and potentially seek that role out a bit too. He can be his own worst enemy at times with how much he does want to play, and we've always respected him for that, and that makes him one of the greats. But at age 40, 41, you can't do it. You just can't play 40 minutes a night like you did. So it's got to come from LeBron too. And you hope that these conversations are happening. I mean, we keep hearing that JJ and LeBron are so tight. Well, let's get it done, boys. Let's actually make sure that the way we move forward is best for the team. Because all we saw late last year was the same crap we've always seen. It was go to LeBron for the last. Okay, in instances, yeah, Luca did get the ball late, but it was mainly LeBron. And we just got cooked because he was too tired. He'd play the whole game. So we've got to be talking now about how this team, as presently constructed, with a guy like LeBron that is still elite and needs to be used properly. You can't use LeBron like we did in our championship season in 2020. It's got to develop. And that's the worry for me, that whether it be LeBron's stubbornness or JJ's inability to really get through to LeBron because they are close, I don't know, man. I want to see something that doesn't, when we start the season, Gerald, that suggests that there's been a conversation, that people know their roles in this team. And that if for example, if LeBron has to sit out, say, 8 minutes of the third quarter every game, something like that, something where there's a premeditatedness to what's happening, not the crap that they did with Ham, where they were restricting minutes that made no sense, but like a role change of some sort, or the ability, just something. I think there's got to be something there, and I reckon they're having those discussions, man. There's a lot of noise around the Lakers, like there always is, and LeBron leaving, this and that. I don't see it happening, man. I mean, LeBron's not going to leave LA unless, it's for a much better off, like, team, etc. It's not happening. This is the team that we're going into the season with. LeBron wants to be a Laker for the rest of his life. So hopefully we can, work with him to get it done. Because I feel like we're sort of not really, we're treating LeBron like he's 23 still. And he's sort of treating himself like that. I hope there's a bit of self-awareness that, that sort of role can change slightly and we can utilize him in the best way possible, man. And if we do, man, we become so serious, Gerald. I know that I'm way more bullish than you, but I keep saying this, man. Luka Doncic, if he didn't get injured, and the way and all this crap with, he was possibly the MVP. He was on track, Joe, before he got injured, and then when he came back with us, he wasn't super fit. He was heartbroken. He still played so well, man. I know there was a couple of games early on where he wasn't fully linking up with us, but far out when you look at the stats. So if that's stats of a guy that's sort of under duress, not fit, not happy, imagine if we can get him motivated. I'm just like, yeah, for me, Luka Doncic is the best player in the world. So when you got the best player in the world, you're a chance every day of the week. SGA just proved that. I know they got a young gun squad. Joker proves that every other game. Giannis has done it with his Bucks squad. Yeah, Giannis is older now, hasn't got it done in recent years, but he did it at this kind of age that Luka's at now. Tatum, man, for me, if Luka's fit, Gerald, he is, and doesn't get injured, we're right up there, man. We are right up there. And I was telling this to the boys the other day. I cannot believe, and we don't talk about, betting odds on this channel and stuff, guys, but just in terms of favoritism, I saw that the Lakers were 7th favorites behind Orlando, which honestly made me laugh, and I couldn't stop laughing. But you got the likes of, I know you like the Houston boys, but turn it up, man. Are you telling me that Houston team is better than a Luka-led Laker team? I just can't get my head around it. I can't.
I think they're a deeper team, a better defensive team, but remember they also had a better record than the Lakers.
Playoffs? You know what I mean?
Oh, playoffs are different, but they're talking about as far as who's going to win the Western Conference during the regular season, or is it for a championship run? Was it for the NBA championship run? I could still see that happening because of the Kevin Durant trade. I think the Kevin Durant trade was
trade.
A lot of people liked it because the fact is, again, Kevin Durant, a healthy Kevin Durant, even at 37 years of age, cures a lot of ills in their half-court offense, which is something they were very inept at, something that even OKC has a lot of trouble in the playoffs. I mean, the teams like Denver's very good in half-court offense because they've got Jokic. Now you have one of the all-time greatest shooters and scorers, someone that is used to taking, especially at moments of need, you're coming down to the last 5 minutes of the game. Kevin Durant's been through this before many times. So having a player like that is immeasurable. Although, again, Joe will tell you, well, look at LeBron. LeBron has not been very successful this stage of his career late in games. I get that. I understand that. But I think that's what Houston is banking on, that he is the missing piece for them. Is it, to me, make them the favorites? No, but I think they are a little bit better equipped for a run right now than the Lakers. But again, talk to me after February. If the Lakers, again, are at a top 3 seed and they make moves to make this team even better, talk to me then about who might have a better run for a title. I mean, I can only go when we make our season predictions. When I ask you guys for your season predictions just before the start of the regular season, that's based off of who we see at that time. that could change in February after the trade deadline, and if the Lakers decide they want to go all in, because Mark, they've gotten their moves. Jake LaRavia low risk, high reward. Marcus Smart is a low risk. You got him on the cheap, high reward. DeAndre Ayton, same thing. Nothing that the Lakers have done this summer has suggested to me the Lakers are going all in on a championship run this season. If they do, it's because Luka has to have an MVP level season.
Yeah, of course, but that's generally the way. Like, if you're wanting to win a chip, you need someone in your team that's playing at a MVP level. We've just seen it with SGA, and man, like I keep saying, we're not underselling Luca here, Gerald, but I think we're slightly forgetting how good this guy is. And no one on the Rockets team scares me. And I'll keep saying that. Like, I know Kevin Durant is potentially a missing piece there, Gerald, but he's also injury prone as.
But they're
And
on what he is on one of the deepest teams in the NBA
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Even
But Gerald,
trading away Cam Whitmore, they're still 10 deep with a bunch of players that could take up a lot of minutes if they play.
what proof do we have of
Durant's
Kevin Durant outside of Golden State getting it done, though, Gerald? Other than the Olympics, man. I mean, yeah, okay, the inch behind the line or the toenail on the line or whatever, man. He let himself down. He did nothing in Brooklyn other than that particular playoff series. I don't know, man. I do not. I've watched all of Kevin Durant's career, like you have, and he is a great scorer, like Carmelo Anthony was. But I don't know. I don't believe if you're sort of relying on him to be a playmaking score maker. I know they're not completely, but he will be that in the playoffs. Nah, doesn't scare me. Fred Van Fleet doesn't scare me. Yeah, they do have a deeper team and they've got some good, serviceable centers, tough centers. But again, man, if Aiton is playing at his level, if Jackson Hayes is giving us what he did in February last year off the bench, yeah, sorry, Shengun, and that we can shut you down, or you can score your 20 points. Luka's going to have 40. So that, like, yeah, that their depth is better, but our top five or our top, our elite talent, I reckon's better, and that's in my opinion. So, I've told you this before. I was once a Rockets fan when I was a lot younger because I got a show bag that had a Rockets thing in it. And, I didn't mind the Rockets when I was young, but I don't feel the same way about them right now. I still think they've got some big weaknesses with guys like Fred VanVleet and that. I mean, he was absolutely cooked in some of those playoff games, and he's super small. So, but anyway, we don't have to talk about Houston the whole time.
No, I don't mind.
But
We got plenty. We have plenty of time to talk about it now that there's no basketball action right
that's
there.
true. But yeah, we'll see.
No worries. The Mavs could surprise, but that's up to their guards because without Kyrie Irving, I think a lot is going to be dependent on their guard play, even though they have probably the best front line in all of the NBA with all the bodies that they have there. If they're all healthy, the front line should be great. How much will they get from their backcourt? That's the question with Thompson, with Christie, and with D'Angelo Russell. They're like the Lakers. Yeah, they're becoming the Lakers Texas style there with of course what I was talking about with Russell and Christie and AD there. So yeah, we'll see how well they will play together.
I remember we were
muted
a trade, and it was a funny trade. I think Laker Tom had put out or something like that, which involved Max Christie coming back. And I was keen on it, everything but Max Christie. I still think the guy is average as. I know there's a lot of love from him from Lakerland, but he proved in some of those games when they relied on him in Dallas late, he went to water. So, yeah, Dallas, good for you. Obviously, they're going to be good, Dallas. Like, if they have a full squad, a full fit squad, which might not be the case with Kyrie, obviously out for the majority of the year or the whole year. And look, YYC says it, and I'll admit that too, man. Cooper Flag looks so good, bro. I mean, and Gerald, did you see him live?
Who was that? A Flag?
Cooper Flag?
No, I did not see Flag.
No, that was the night.
They cut him. I got there the day after he was sent home after 2 games.
he does look very good, man. Like at for sort of that age, obviously he's still a bit raw, but wow, what he was sort of the athleticism, just the size of him. Kudos to them. They they picked up somehow, thanks to probably Adam Silver. They got that, but I still don't care what anyone tells me. Cooper Flag's definitely not now as good as Luca, and I don't think he's got the ceiling as big as Luca. Luca's a prodigy obviously Cooper Flag's a prodigy, but when Luca was a prodigy, he was playing men at the age of 14 and 15 in Spain and winning awards. He got so close to winning the chip the prior season to joining us, Gerald. It was a funny season, last one. He is absolutely primed. Absolutely primed. The guy's all time. And man, I really hope that he just hits the ground running with us, and that we can, if we do see that MVP season from him, Gerald, man, we're right in the mix. I can't get my head around that. He's an MVP and we're nowhere near the finals. At this stage, I can't.
Well, again, I as I said in the comments, I think the Lakers' depth is still a concern to me. I would not put them in my top three, but again, if they're right there in that mix with Minnesota, the Clippers, Dallas, San Antonio, Memphis, the Lakers are right in there in that mix, 4th through 8th. Anything that goes wrong with one of the top 3 teams, and the Lakers could be right there, especially if Luka has a MVP like season, like I'm thinking he will. So I think the Lakers will be could be a title contender with the right breaks. So we'll see. But Intel Wild, cannot thank you enough. So kind with the super chat. Truly appreciate you doing so. I think you just chipped in $30. Truly appreciate you doing so.
32.
Yeah, absolutely. Just truly cannot thank you enough.
What a goat.
As always, either or not. So either or not.
I think he was referring to staying for another half an hour. He was challenging you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can stay. Yeah, I can stay for a little while. That sounds good. But he's always watching from behind, so I always worry about that. So that's why I'm like, he's never with us live. He never hits the live button on the screen. He always goes from behind. So I never am 100% sure of where he's at, because he comments in real time, Mark, but he's always watching us in the past.
Gotcha.
So, yes, we're in the future right now for Intel. So yes, hello from the future. Hi, Intel from the future. There you go. Indeed.
And actually, Gerald, I'm about 17 hours ahead, so
there
I'll
you
see you in a day or two. Intel,
absolutely.
But yeah, Mad, kudos to you supporting so much lately, and I know that he's back in blue, so he's very happy as well. And it's always good to see Intel and the other mods, man. Everyone really likes such a good chat at times. Hey, I know there's some infiltrators, but in the main, it's a great chat. But yeah, we got some positivity there. Was it Brad saying Luke is already goated? Fair enough too.
Well, again, I think he should be a strong candidate for MVP, seeing the kind of shape he's in, and I'm looking forward to a great season from him and being able to put the Lakers on his back. And who knows how far that can go. I know that Mark is really high on the team. Again, I think this team will be competitive. I'm not saying they won't, but we will definitely see what's going on. Kaio says, if the West is so deep, what makes us think an LBJ eating fit? It's almost like I'm reading Joe Soros or something. Eating 53 million and not having cap space makes us win. Again, Kaio, you're right. He is eating 53 million of cap space, but if he's healthy and he has enough rest leading into the playoffs, you never know. Backed by Luka as a 1A and number 2 guy, still could get you 22, 24 in a playoff run. 5, he can get you 7-7. He can get you numbers. Defensively, you're right. I cannot argue with you on that. Defensively, it's spotty at best as far as what kind of output, even in the playoffs, he can give you. But offensively, he can still do things in the league if he's not physically tired, if he's not gassed. He can still do good things. He did good things in the playoffs the first halves, but you saw him gas out. You saw Luka gas out time and time again in that Minnesota series. I think we have to do things in order to make sure that those guys do not get gassed out. And if we do, we could go ahead and have a better chance of winning, Mark. But the problem is, and I'll get to the other question here in a second. The thing I wanted to ask you is that's the thing I'm concerned with. That's why I've been so harping on depth for this team, is because you have to have these guys eat up minutes for LeBron and Luka in the regular season so that they have something left for the playoffs and a playoff run. Part of the reason why SGA and the Oklahoma City Thunder did so well is because they had a full roster of guys to be able to go ahead and help them on that run. They may have not all been able to produce in the playoffs when asked for, but by that time, SGA, Williams, Holmgren, they stepped it up with their play because of what a lot of that had to do with what the whole entire team and that depth of that roster did for them during the regular season.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what I was saying before. I mean, it's pretty obvious what happened late last year, that the guys were getting cooked, or running out of gas late. I also think that, there was major issues in that Minnesota series with matchups, and JJ couldn't get his head around it. I said this last time that we chatted, Gerald, I still can't get my head around not playing Jackson Hayes like he did. It's almost unforgivable for me, but the way that JJ coached overall last year, I didn't enjoy it. I'm someone that has a similar drive and passion to JJ, and in the way that he communicates and things like that. So he does resonate with me, but it was bizarro world what happened in the playoffs. So hopefully he's learnt from that as well. And I think there was a little bit of confusion around, or from his part, whether or not he wanted to. Yeah, look, Kleber was sort of muted to come back, and then he played him in, I think it was the last game for a quarter, or the second last game. I don't think they really had figured out how they were going to put up with the tall timber that Minnesota has in Gobert and Randall. He couldn't get his hand around it, man, and it really let us down. So I feel like, okay, he's got to improve as well. But I just want to touch on YYC is, YYC, man, he always makes such great points. And he actually, that point that he made there, or the question he's asking around, is something I've been thinking about. I know you don't rate him, Gerald. I remember comments late last year about Max Kleber, or late last year, the basketball season. Is he someone that they're looking at that could potentially add minutes? Like, I know
Well,
you're not the biggest.
JJ will look at every man on that roster. Their bench
Yeah.
was the second worst in the entire league last year, Mark. So if you or I were sitting on that bench, he'd be looking at us at least once or twice. I've already said about Bronny. Bronny, just by the sheer fact he's got a guaranteed year and is going to be sitting there for 82 games, just by the sheer fact through attrition, injuries, ineffectiveness on that bench, because this bench didn't get exponentially better in the
Yeah.
offseason.
But
Bronny will get
yeah.
looks. So that Kleber will get looks. Kleber, just by the fact that he'll be a body on that bench, he will get looks. Now, he better look a hell of a lot better than that. The fact that, just I can't believe JJ still dusted off the cobwebs off him and said, you know what? I know you really just came back from a foot injury and foot surgery and all that. Let's just throw you in there. He looked like you or I if we had just been pulled out of the stands.
Yeah,
And I
you're
thought
right.
that
And
was,
he didn't play long. He only played that one quarter, or whatever, and he was never seen again.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. He was looking for answers that he couldn't really find, and he started overcomplicating it. And I'm sorry, I'll say this, and I know you don't really agree with me. Hayes was not playing poorly enough to have been dropped off the squad.
No, I
Now,
think you should have gone back to
yeah,
Hayes. I said that you should have
yeah.
gone back to Hayes for a few. I
But
mean,
he didn't,
that's
Joe.
still.
He didn't at all when we were getting absolutely hammered, and he played the guys, five guys for the whole second half. Like, these are the questions that they've got to be, answering now, or the discussions they've got to be having about how they move forward to not do this stupid crap, essentially, and to conserve guys like LeBron. because just think about it. Like, if you just said to yourself, okay, LeBron, we're not going to play you for the first 5 minutes of the third quarter because we want you to have energy for the last 5 minutes of the third quarter. Like, it doesn't work that basic, but there's got to be something like that, a sacrifice of time during the game where okay, you're doing this because you're going to do this later in the game. You're going to come on and impact later in the game. That's the discussions that got to have. Surely AR, Marcus Smart, Gabe Vincent can carry the team, Luca, for 5 minutes so LeBron gets that extra rest. I just hope that they're having those discussions and they're not looking at it like, okay, LBJ is playing 40 minutes. Do you know what I mean? That's where we're going to fall apart, man. If the logic is LeBron's still a 23-year-old player, we know that. But if they're not thinking that, Gerald, and we can utilize him properly, far out, man. LeBron James at times last year was unbelievable. Like, he had some. I know he dips and spurts with his threes, but he's improved a lot from three, man. And there was times where he was keeping us in games and that. So I just, yeah, keep
Who is
saying it,
this?
Gerald. LeBron, like
Oh, yes.
it bits and spurts. He had some great, yeah. He's very up and down with his threes, but at the same time, he has improved a lot from when he was younger. I'm just sort of saying, like,
He
you,
had those years in Miami where it was good and then it tailed off. And then
yeah,
with the Lakers, it was okay. Nothing to write home about. He's always a high volume shooter from outside. But then 2 seasons ago, it was really good. It was above 40%.
yeah,
Not past season, but
no,
the season before. And this season wasn't past season wasn't terrible. But you hope he can matriculate close to what he had 2 seasons ago. If that's the case, then that's another 40% shooter to give to Luka out there.
yeah.
But I wanted to point out what Jeremy says. Do we think Gabe has anything to give this year, or has he faded? I know that this ties
Gabe's
into what
fade.
JSJ said about hopefully Maxi Kleber could be a stretch five. Take a look at his stats, guys. Take a look at his stats. I know Joe hates to look at the stats, but it is a realistic determination of how this guy has played. I know that Joe always says, let's talk about the intangibles, what they do in the crunch, etc., etc., etc. The fact is, if you look at it, the last time he played any considerable amount of games above 50 was 21-22. And
Yeah,
really, there's a lot of health concerns with Maxi Kleber. And the fact is, he hasn't shot above 35% from three since 2021. That should be of great concern to you guys. He needs to become a stretch five. He needs to find whatever stroke that he had, because he is gone from the league. If he does not become a stretch five, he doesn't give you anything. He doesn't rebound great. He can't block shots. He's just a body out there, and he needs to be able to find that stroke. Otherwise, he is of no use for us outside of an expiring contract at the trade deadline mark.
yeah, it's a good point. But I still feel like if ultimately we do keep him and just move forward as present, that you can make it work, man. You can make this sort of Aiton, Hayes, Kleber, Vando, power forward, center, sort of team or lineup that we've got there. You can potentially make it work somehow. At the end of the day, those guys aren't our main scorers. Aiton's going to be relied upon, to score and rebound. But they're serviceable players in their own way if you use them correctly. It's not ideal though, Gerald. Obviously, if we had an Aiton and another superstar at power forward or another really serviceable center, then maybe like the boys had in Dallas, like Luca had in Dallas with his Gafford and that was obviously super strong. It's not as strong with us, but he's got other assets to utilize as well. He's got a player like AR that he didn't have in Dallas. He's got a player like LeBron who can also relieve him off the ball, and so we'll see. Like you got to be positive with where we're at the moment. I didn't even mention Marcus Smart in that mix there or Gabe. So um, yeah,
I
DFS
just
for
think
me,
right now
man.
at this stage of his career, it's the part of the pun. It's smarter to have Marcus Smart coming off your bench. I understand that there's defensive liabilities amongst the starting five, but the offensive firepower to start your game is something I think that has to be weighed into that fact. And Marcus Smart at this stage of his career, it's probably best to utilize him coming off the bench, knowing where you need to go and who you need to guard. If he comes in 5 minutes of the game, if you sit down LeBron, or if whoever it is that you sit down that first, if he comes in amongst the first group at 5 minutes, just into the game, you're giving him a chance to go ahead and evaluate who do the Lakers need to prioritize on guarding in order to go ahead and try to close out at least the first and third quarter strong. So Smart playing 25 minutes a game, I think max, I think would probably be where I would feel comfortable with it, because then the more he plays, the more his flaws in his game, i.e. shooting, a little bit turnover prone, but he can play one or the two. Just some of his flaws start to stick out more. But if you can play him around 20 minutes a game to give you that defensive intensity, Mark, I really think that's going to help the Lakers a lot.
Yeah, for sure. That's why they brought him in. He's not there to start. He's not there to take AR's spot. That's absolutely insane for anyone to think that right now. Now, if that develops over time, that Smart is playing out of his, skin, and at the same time, there's a little bit of a drop off from AR.
Well,
There's
then
no
you
way.
make the change. Yeah.
Of course, yeah, and I think AR got benched at one stage early last season, and I could be slightly wrong about that. He might have come off the bench maybe the previous season, but they're not going into the season thinking that, and I wouldn't be either. But it's not, sometimes we get so obsessed with the starting lineup that like it's not like in soccer where you start a team and when you sub someone you can't bring them back on. You get limited. In soccer you get 5 subs. So if I bring LeBron James off, he can't ever come back on the game. At the end of the day, you can start a lineup and make the trade within, or make the change within 1 minute if you really want to. So I'm not getting obsessed with who's starting and stuff, but at the end of the day, what Marcus Smart role should be in this team is a lockdown defender. Is someone that can lock down with Luca, help him out on the defensive side, and then Marcus Smart is not with Luca on the court, that he potentially is running at the point. They might not even run him at point. They might have AR with him. They might have Gabe with him. I'm not too sure how that's all going to work, but I completely agree with you, Gerald. We're not coming in. He's not coming here to play like he did in Boston, but he's coming here to be utilized in a better way. And that's what I'm saying about this whole team. I know that overall we're sort of like, oh man, this squad, blah, blah, blah. But if you can utilize the players in the right way and get them all to buy in, man, I still reckon Luca can stir the pot and cook something quite special up. I seriously do. So, and I still like the other thing I keep thinking, Gerald, is that we don't want to rush things either. Like Rob, for me, I know he's made a lot of wrong moves, but the one thing that I'm giving him credit for is I think he's been at the forefront of the integration of Luca. I don't know. Rob sometimes comes across to me as a bit of a knobhead, as we say in Australia, something that probably I might not get along with, but I've never really seen him have bad relationships. Certainly, from what you see the camera wise, you would have seen it, Gerald. You saw him live just last week with the
Mhm.
boys. At the end of the day, LeBron doesn't have to go hug him if he doesn't like him. It might be for cameras and things like that, Gerald, but he wasn't sitting with them. He didn't have to go see that. So right now, it just on its face, the last month or the last 6 months, I think Rob's done a really good job. Okay, yeah, he's got a lot of history, so he's got a lot of making up to do. But I still think he's thinking right now about how he can make the team better, and that's why when we talk about Matthias Thybulle and Jrue Holiday and that, man, we can't rush into these things, man. It's not about those guys. It's about Luka Doncic, and no one wants to waste a Luka season. But how are we saying we're going to waste a Luka season when we got LeBron there? Like, LeBron's on 52 mil. So it like they're making, I think, the best of a not a bad situation, but they're making the
Well, Rob
best
is
of
having his
the
cake and eat it
situation.
too. He's having his cake and eat it too because he wants to save cap space for later years in 26 and 27, but he wants to get what he can to help this team at least be a fringe contender now. Now, if that changes, again, as I'm trying to tell Kaio, and the Lakers are in a position and they look really good, if they're 1 or 2 or 3 in the West, if they're a strong top 3 seed in the West, Mark, I think that perspective changes a little. I think Luka will provide some pressure internally on the organization if they look like they're in a position to win. If Luka is having an MVP like season and they are looking like a top 3 team in the West, but they still have flaws, then I think you do have to go ahead. It is your duty as a GM to go ahead and try to make some tweaks with those expiring contracts you have in order to make the team better for a playoff run. Again, I think October, November, December, what happens then is fine. But where is the team at come the trade deadline? I think that will tell the entire story of what is in the process of thinking of whether Rob stays there or gets replaced going forward.
Yeah, for sure. But again, I'll just
20
reiterate.
minutes more. We'll go to 1. I'll tell you what, Intel for you, my friend, we'll go to 1 a.m. We'll go to 1 a.m.
Sounds
It is a
good.
late night. Yes. We'll go to 1 a.m.
Um,
27 more minutes for you, my friend.
no, I'm good. Yeah, for me it's 5:33 in the afternoon, so we're sort of both in darkness for once, which is quite uncommon because in winter it gets dark here pretty early. But yeah, thanks so much, Intel and Searchy, Jeremy, Dino from Perth, Blood, KO, everyone here, man. Tough. Yeah, such a good crowd. But make sure you hit the likes as well because we've found lately that, and it's quite obvious, but likes equal views. So Gerald and Joe definitely deserve those likes. But yeah, nah, look, man, as I keep saying, and I'll continue to say, I'm very bullish right now. And
I'm more
like,
guarded. I think and I'm a little bit more guarded, but I
you are.
do think there is a pathway. I think
Yeah.
there is a pathway, but certain things have to fall in place and shoring up the depth by the time the playoff hits, seeing where the Lakers at all season, health for the Lakers, and a Luka MVP run. A lot of things have to fall in place. Plus, those top 3 teams, in my opinion, as of now, a little bit of bad luck has to happen to those guys as well. So
I didn't
that's
mean
that's
to
that's
spill my
that's.
coffee.
Oh no, we're all good, my
Sorry.
friend. Here in the States, we won't be able to do that because I heard coffee is getting more expensive. So I'm avoiding that one.
I took the
But
lid off and it didn't work out very well. My
I
bad.
know JY and other people have asked this over the course of the weeks because I keep on yelling with Joe. We keep on arguing, going back and forth. He said, "What moves do you think the Lakers could have made?" Well, again, I've had these conversations with you. Vari and I were having conversations with Weeks during the playoffs in regards to the Lakers. They could have made real moves with the New York Knicks on, with for their expiring contracts. I really think that they could have at least asked or inquired about Bridges, Robinson, and McBride on a package deal at that point in time. We were talking about it, but they went on that run and almost won against Indiana. So I'm like, nah, they're probably going to keep them now at this point. But during the first and second round, New York was looking, So it's like, okay, could they be interested in getting an Austin Reeves there? Orlando before they got Bain. We had talked for weeks. Joe and I were talking about he wanted Isaac. I wanted more Batatse and Wendell Carter Jr. in a package for Reeves. I thought that's something that was a great marriage. The Lakers needed more defense and big guys, and Orlando needed the offense that Austin Reeves. I thought it was a marriage made in heaven, but
Yeah.
obviously it wasn't meant to be because Bain got there and kind of just that's all she wrote on that one. But the one move I talk about and I've thought about more is the New Orleans deal that I talked about continuously. If the Lakers had gotten a chance to, I already know he's on extension, but Trey Murphy, for instance, and Jones, if you would have given up all your assets for a package like that, maybe throw in Misi for salary cap purposes, maybe throw in
Best
Alvarado for salary cap purposes. Those four guys come in the Lakers for the entire packages of your expiring plus whatever you had on there. I think that would be a win now team. I think putting those two younger guys who can play D in the case Herb Jones is a great corner shooter. Trey Murphy 3 can explode as a scorer and a shooter,
mm, mm.
something we would hope Dalton eventually becomes into. That would have been something that I think would have been truly unique for the Lakers. So those are some of the deals. Again, if I put more thought into it, I could probably come up with 2 or 3 more deals, but those were the deals that I really thought that if the Lakers had been really 100% invested in going all in now, Mark, which they're not. I really think that those are some of the things that they could have come up with if they pushed hard enough. But yeah, again,
I
it is
like the
they
Trey
aren't.
Murphy.
Yeah,
He's a great player, Gerald. Like, yeah, look, I mean, that is logical in the very short term. And yeah, it does make us a potentially a better squad right now. But at the same time, you've just got to be really, really careful with these moves. I personally don't feel like Herb Jones is that elite. I feel like he's a dime a dozen in the league. Just me. Trey Murphy, not so much. I feel like he's a next level type player. So I would have loved to have sort of somehow brought him into the team, but it's not happening at the rate that you potentially want in terms of the trades or the win now sort of package. But I still keep saying that we've got to give it time. There's not only this trade window, there's a trade window during the season as well that they can make moves. So I think we've got to, honestly, I feel like we've got to give this team and guys like AR just a little bit more time, man. It's absolutely insane that we're going from Luca coming in Feb 1st. What's this now? It's 5 months later, of which, you haven't played for a couple of months. And we're sort of going that, okay, we haven't really seen how that can work. There's been no off season. There's been no real training. There's been no planning, I believe. There's been no discussions with how this can move forward properly. They start having, like, man, I'm sorry. Like, at some stages last year, we were saying that AR, okay, some people have completely changed their mind. But at some stages last year, even people in this show, chat everywhere, were saying that AR was going to be an all-star next year. And then all of a sudden we want to trade the guy. So, like, don't get me wrong, AR and Lloyd's back for Lloyd somehow comes out of the woodworks when I'm on the show. And Lloyd's not the biggest AR fan. He wants him gone.
and
But
I see why. I mean, we've been
yeah,
critical of him on the show. He plays terrible defense. I mean, the only time he ever played
yeah,
acceptable defense was in that round with Denver when he held or he played really hard on that end, but he had nothing left on the offensive end. So because of his, I guess, lack of athleticism, he can only commit to really one side of the ball. And last year he said, I'm going to commit to the offensive end and be 25-5 player because he knows eventually that's going to be more financially lucrative for him. He can't play really great or even acceptable defense at times for the Lakers. So I get Lloyd's understanding on that. But Marcus Smart at 31 years of age is not the Marcus Smart of 27 years of age. I think that has to be made clear. I think coming off of 2 years of relative inactivity and injury, you have to be careful with him on how you utilize him. So at this point in time, as was said in the chat, I guess the best of all the situations, which again is not a perfect situation in its entirety, is still keeping that same, well, the same 4 core, and then adding DeAndre Ayton at this point in time as your starting lineup. But I do think you should give Marcus Smart a long look at 20 to 25 minutes a game and see where it goes from there. As long as you don't let Marcus Smart, if he's not shooting well, because Marcus Smart is streaky, and I think that's being very generous. If he shoots close to 35%, I think it's a big win for the Lakers. If he gives you more than 60 games, it's a big win for the Lakers. And that's also the fact that the Lakers will be in a position to compete very well against the rest of the NBA.
Yeah, hell yeah. Look, the one thing that does worry me about this team, and if he was not a worry for me, I feel um, probably a lot different in terms of just our depth in the guard positions and the shooting is Dalton, man. Still, it's, you saw him live a couple of times in summer league. You've seen him the prior year, and you were his biggest advocate on this channel. I wasn't too far behind you, Gerald. We've always been on the same page with Dalton.
Uh-huh.
And geez, what a shame. What's happened there? Whether it was the trade that did his head in, or maybe there was something there that we never knew. There's a reason the guy that didn't get drafted before the age of 23. But far out, if he could rekindle some of that early season form from last year and become a very serviceable guard, man, we start looking pretty okay. I know we are obsessed. He's again another guy that can't defend, but hopefully, I don't know. Austin Reeves, one thing that he's always done is add something every off season. Whether he's a guy that has improved a lot since he's come in the league.
He has, and you
Hopefully,
have to give him
yeah,
credit for that.
yeah. And look, athleticism is hard to improve on, but I don't know. Maybe he can work in the off season on defensive stance, on getting lower, or something like that that can help him in a certain way to become a more serviceable defender, to be able to stay in front of players. I hope that's what he's doing. But yeah, just touching on Dalton again, man, if Dalton was as confident or looked like he did, early season last year, far out, wouldn't we be rolling into the season talking about him? We'd be like, there's Smart, there's Dalton, there's AR, there's Luca. We're not even talking about Dalton now. We're talking about Gabe. So, man, I just hope that, I don't know if that summer league was a bit of an aberration, and it's hard to read for me, summer league, Gerald. Summer league feels like a bit of a nothing tournament that's really for the fans because we're so passionate. We want to see, the Lakers in some form play, but that's absolute Mickey Mouse stuff. And just hopefully that isn't a reflection of where Dalton's truly at right now. But it wasn't good. There was some good signs in terms of, he was a bit streaky, but geez, man. I mean, I even remember Dalton, Joe. We watched the All-Star game when was he in the rookies or
The
whatever
rookie
that
game,
team
yeah, he
was?
was in the rookie
Yeah,
game.
man,
Yeah,
he was great, man. He was great. Like he really, even in that sort of rookie sophomore, he looked at one of the top 3, 4 players. That was that prior to the trade? I think it was the trade had already happened before All Star, or was it after they
no, it
did
was
the trade?
after. It was after.
After, because he looked elite, man. He looked. I mean, we watched that game pretty much for him. We were looking for Dalton the whole time. So I don't know if there's a diamond in the rough there still. I really hope so, because if it is, man, well, he's someone we're not even talking about that can add a lot to the team. I know it's primarily scoring, but far out, he seems to have the athleticism to become a good defender. I don't know if it's just the way they are brought up these days, Gerald, and the young guys are all about shooting threes and that don't really work on the defense.
He
But
just never looks like he's worked on it, even at all the
yeah,
stops and being the top player at every college team he's been on. He's never needed to. In
yeah,
his mind, in his opinion, he's never needed to be nothing more than an acceptable defender out there because he always had the scoring and the shooting ability. But right now, I think still there's a lot going on up here. Again, if I was running the team right now, even if it was me driving over where Dalton lives, I would go ahead and have a talk with him. I would sit him down. Do you need a team psychologist? Do you need a team psychiatrist? Do you need a therapist? What is it do you need? What is it we need to
yeah,
do as an organization to help get you back going in the right direction? We did what we did. We felt we made a mistake, and now it's just come out because Mark Williams was traded again. It's
yeah,
just the point where, you know what? Okay, the Lakers just felt they gave too much. That's why
yeah,
they had buyer's remorse. They could just say it to him. We had buyer's remorse. We, you know, it's probably the first round pick than Dalton, but okay, whatever. Dalton, we really cared about you so much. We had buyer's remorse. We really want you to be able to contribute on this. Okay, at this point, I'm BSing a little bit when I'm dealing with Dalton, but
Well, it
I'm
sounds
trying to
okay to
sweet
me.
talk. I'm
Yeah,
trying to sweet talk
I like the
Dalton.
motivation.
I'm
Yeah,
trying to find out what is in that head of his that's
yeah,
causing this decline in his play. Because the second year he should have dominated in summer league. He should have absolutely. I expected
yeah,
25 points a game on average from him. We saw Kyle Filipowski, a guy who was drafted after him, dominate with 30 and 10
yeah.
in the summer league for Utah. At this point, we should have taken Filipowski for that pick if that's the way it is right now. I just want to
Mm.
know, Dalton, what's going on? What can we do to make your situation better? And if he says trade me, then go ahead and let's do that. If he says, you know what, I need this, this, and this, let's go ahead and do that. Because as long as he's on this team, you have to try and make it work for him. Because again,
Oh
it
yeah.
all goes back down to what you saw last year as the Lakers had the second worst bench in the NBA and they didn't move heaven and earth to make it a whole lot better.
Mm.
Let's just be nice about that. You replaced Laravia for DFS and you gain Marcus Smart, but Marcus Smart is not a scorer. He's a situational player as far as his shooting is concerned. He's more of a defender, be able to go ahead and facilitate on offense, et cetera, et cetera. So I really think that they need his scoring desperately, and he's going to get looks this season if his mind is in shape. But if it's not, and he's trash, and his mind is trash, it's going to be just another wasted spot on that roster, and it's going to be very disappointing for the Lakers. And it's something that the Lakers cannot have. They need minutes from this bench to
Mm.
suck up as many minutes as possible for Luka and LeBron. It is imperative that those two, to have any chance in the playoffs, go in as fresh as possible. I mean, and
Yeah,
Brad, well, let me just say one thing. Brad, you said it was just summer league. Brad,
yeah.
it's what we saw in summer league. To take it, you go there, you work on your game to try and maximize it for the upcoming season. It is 6 games he went out there, and outside of one quarter, he absolutely looked like he didn't want to be there, Brad. That is an absolute concern. And based off of what we saw after the trade and how he came back, Mark, where he only had like one or two good games to my memory,
Yeah.
it should be a big concern for all Lakers fans. You could just say it's just summer league. That's fine. But other players of his tenure in the league were taking advantage of it to work on skills, to improve. He did just look like he was going through the motions, and that's not a good sign for him going forward.
No, you know what? But man, I also have to, we do need to acknowledge a couple of things with Dalton before we go all schizo that he's not playing well. He got drafted with Bronny James. I mean, that for a scenario is probably the toughest draft situation you'll ever face. To have someone that's been drafted at 55 have like way more kudos than you, or fanfare, blah, blah, whatever it might be. I think it was a very unique situation that he did find himself in, Gerald. He also played really well, and they started glazing him way too much, man. I'm sorry, when he had that 37-point game, which obviously from a rookie is great, but at the end of the day, he jacked up as many shots as he did. He was the offensive focal point for that particular game. You can't come out as a leader like LeBron and do his stupid stuff on Twitter and say that this dude is the best pickup at this at pick 16 or whatever in the history of the league, or how stupid are all these other teams for missing out of him. You're absolutely glazing a rookie. So I think like to if you're looking at from a Dalton's defense perspective on how he's acting now, it's not exactly been the greatest ride, okay, for a rookie. It hasn't just been a standard year. The bloke got traded when we thought he was a star and blah, blah, blah. So he has to get his head right. It's something that you can obviously see. There's at times where he's been on the bench, he doesn't look interested and things like that. that's going to be the key here, Gerald. That's why he wasn't drafted till 23. There's possibly something, there's a screw loose, for a lack of a better terminology. Not saying he's a crazy person,
Well, I
but
think
there's
this
something missing there.
it
They've got
speaks
to
to a
find it.
larger thing, though, Mark. It speaks to something larger with him because I talked about all season long. Why is he not playing regularly? You're asking why is he not? Guys out there, why isn't Connect playing more? We always go ahead and say it's because of his defense, which he looked like one of the worst defenders, period, in the NBA. Full stop.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Nobody
you're
can
right.
take that away. He looked
Yeah.
like the one of the absolute worst defenders in the NBA.
No, he did,
But
man.
as a bigger thing, his softness.
Mm.
He looks as soft as
He's very
tissue,
soft.
my
Yeah.
tissue. Yeah. But the
He
thing is,
can't.
that's also something to do with up here, the ability to want it, the ability to go after it, the ability to have the desire to play with more force. Some of that is on the mental side. So
It is.
it just says, I don't like to say that he's soft. I don't like to say he's mentally weak or anything like that nature, but something mentally is just causing him, even since he got in the NBA, to play at a softer level. Again, I go back to that play in Philadelphia where he had the ball, he got the ball in a rebound. The Philadelphia player just came and walked up to him like right now. I would take that cup, walked away, and I would just take that cup away from you without even trying. And it was just, I could not believe my eyes to see how easily it was taken away from him. Like he was just almost handing it to him. And I'm just
Yeah.
telling myself, that is someone who needs to play with more force. And I think it's a bigger issue with Dalton in regards to,
Mm.
yes, is he butthurt as was described by Kaio in regards to the trade, what happened to the trade, and he's still holding it? Yes, but I still think there's something there mentally that is not allowing him to play with more force, more heart, more energy, and more strength. And maybe this is something that the other 15 or so teams realized, because remember, they in the draft room, when you go to Chicago Combine, Mark, they take you aside, they talk to you, they ask you questions, they try to test your mental abilities during that period of time. They also talk to the coaches, and in his case, he had multiple coaches during his tenure in college. Maybe all these other teams got the word on something on him that they didn't like, which may have been part of the reason for his downfall in the first place. Again, a very talented player, very skilled, and if he ever gets his head right, could be a lights out shooter for any team that he plays for. But the problem is, will he get his head right for the Lakers? That remains to be seen. And if he doesn't, that's just one less player you can count on in the rotation, Mark, for a team that already is down depth wise more so than probably any other team in that 1 through 6 Western Conference framework. As
Yeah.
far as they're probably the lightest on depth team still, even with Marcus Smart. From memory, wherever you have them 1 to 8, I'd probably say maybe San Antonio is weaker as far as depth wise if you have them there. But after that, I think the Lakers have more trouble with depth than any other team that's competing for a title next year.
Yeah. Look, you think that. I don't completely agree. Because I keep saying that I think we've got pieces there that if you're having the genuine discussions on how you can make this work, it can still happen. I'm not saying it's an ideal team or we couldn't improve with certain things, but I think you've got enough pieces there, whether it be, okay, are we saying that Vando's not playing in this team at all, or can you utilize Vando
Well, if it was up to me
in
and Joe, that case would be
Oh,
no.
yeah, oh, yeah, I know that, but can we utilize Vando only to do what he does well, which is defend, not rely on him at all on the scoring end? Like, I don't know, man. Like right now, with the squad presently constructed, I still believe if you have the right sacrifices, that we can make it work if Luke is playing at an MVP level. But having said that, Gerald, I still believe there's going to be moves made. And whether it be Gabe or Kleber, Vando, etc. There's still time, and the Lakers have proven that we're a very aggressive ball club. So I think we just got to still, stick fat and wait to see what happens. But like I keep saying, if we go into the season with this team as presently constructed, with Rue, with Aiton, with LeBron, with Luca, with Reeves, with Smart, with Hayes, man, with Gabe, as a third or fourth player that comes off the bench to run a point, with Dalton playing okay, with Bronny playing for 2 minutes a game, giving us some good defense, with no Bronny in the team, but with whoever else there is admittedly in the wing spot and stuff, there's some deficiencies there, Gerald, but I still think we've got enough to keep ticking things along and to win games. Luca can win games on his own. So I don't know, like this, people think we might be 6th to 8th seed. I thought, we were 3rd seed in a very tough circumstance. I've just got a lot of faith in Luca, man. I don't know what it is. He played for bloody Real Madrid, the team I hate the most in the world. But I've watched him since he was in Spain, and he's the type of player that can carry a team. So I still believe we're a top 4 side, even as constructed. Whether or not that's then enough to get us over the hump, maybe not. But we've got to have a bit of faith in the team. I mean, Aiton can be great, Gerald. I know attitude problems, this and that. He also played really well at times in Phoenix. Like, they made the Western Conference Finals. He was a big part of that. Surely he's going to be motivated to have a big season, that contract season. He was in the same draft as Luca. I think there's an element also of people wanting to play with Luca. You saw that a lot in Dallas, and when he left Dallas, how heartbroken they were. So, um, as I keep saying, I'm going to keep saying it, whether or not yourself or chat believe me. I'm super positive as things currently stand, because I still think we've got time to make moves if we don't think things are right. I also think just one last person I want to shout out, my boy Rui. Man, love Rui, man. And I really, at times, I was quite harsh on him. I look at some of our pods in January and February last year where, man, I probably went a bit too hard on Rui, but he's another dude. He's got that Japanese discipline where he's always improving as well. And from a couple of really poor off seasons, man, he improved in the last off season that we just had. So he's at that age to develop too, man. He could become a 25-point a game scorer. If he does that, wow. Maybe LeBron James isn't the second best player on the team. Maybe it's Rui Hachimura. Okay, like we might be stretching ourselves a bit there, but he does have a lot of potential too, Gerald, man. So there's a lot of good assets here, boys. And
Well,
let's
he's going
just
to be playing for a new contract as
as
well,
well.
Mark.
So motivation,
And
Gerald.
we
That's what
could
I'm
lose
saying.
him
There's a
for
lot of
nothing as
motivation.
well. That concerns me the most, Mark, is that if Rui plays at another
Yeah,
level, or if Austin plays even at the same level, those guys are looking for paydays in the summer, and the Lakers, may not want to go ahead and pay what they're asking, and could lose both, when you could have used both of those guys as assets in trades this summer, or even up to February. So that is my concern. But
yeah,
again, when I talk about the depth, it just comes down to the fact that, okay, the Lakers again had the second worst bench in the NBA last year. And if you take Jake LaRavia and replace DFS, if you swap those two, that's one. That's the same at this point, as far as for, however you think better DFS is, or Jake LaRavia is better than DFS, it's essentially still the same one player for one player. Marcus Smart is the only upgrade that you made on that bench, for the foreseeable future, unless Adu Thiero surprises all of us.
mm.
That is, it's still a great concern to me, coming from the back that,
Laravia,
what?
Laravia.
Laravia you take DFS away
Yeah,
and you put in Laravia. That's essentially one for one.
I'm sorry.
Okay. So you
DFS
essentially,
for me, Gerald. You were the one. You were DFS's biggest critic, and I was sticking up for him a lot. DFS was shite, man. It was shite when it
uh,
mattered most. And you proved to me exactly what you thought. How you felt about DFS. It came out in the playoffs. I'm glad Yeah, look, okay, Legends fanboy. He might be better, but at DFS went missing when it mattered most. So hopefully in Laravi, a younger player that maybe doesn't go missing in those moments. DFS was serviceable at times, but I'm
But
not
it
that
all
unhappy
averaged
he's
itself
gone.
out to 10
Sorry.
points a game with DFS. I get what you're saying. It
Yeah.
always averaged itself out to 10 points a game. But Jake LaRavia, he reached 10 points a game in his second year, but he struggled shooting wise. He didn't get the opportunity, didn't get as many minutes last year, even though he shot better. So I'm hoping he can get back to a 10 points, 12-point game player. Maybe he can even become, like you said, he is younger. He's only 23. So you have a guy that should supposedly be on the upswing, which is everything that Rob is counting on him improving his game over time because he's not even hit his peak yet. So I'm hopeful that this season he can approach those numbers or surpass those numbers that DFS gave you. But again, even if you say it's a wash between those two stats wise, Marcus Smart is the only upgrade you made on this roster and as far as the bench is concerned. So that is still of great concern to me going forward, just for the fact you need
Understood.
to try and conserve as many minutes as you can for Luka and LeBron. And I'm still trying to figure out how you can do that. So that's my concern. And when I look at it, you're more of a belief guy. I am more of an analytical, realistic approach guy. And I told you I try to look at this thing. I try to
Last
look
time
at
you
this
said that
thing.
when Joe was on, that he said you were pretty much telling me to shut up. No, I'm
No,
joking.
but you're.
I'm
I mean, and
joking.
then
I am.
positivity.
I'm a feel guy. We've talked about
Yeah,
this.
you're
Yeah,
you're based off of feel.
I'm
I'm
Spanish.
based more in analytics,
Oh, you.
in stats, in what I see, on the court type
Yeah.
deal. I study film. I do a lot of things in the background. I do a lot of research when I'm not
Hell
on this
yeah,
show.
Gerald.
So that's where my
That's what I'm saying.
come from. Belief over the course of my 40 some odd years I've been watching this game, it's just hard for me to have a belief. It's just
Yeah.
something that I see projecting out as far as what the numbers and what the eye test tells me. That so I'm very happy that you're positive. I'm happy that, for the guys out there that are in the chat that are super positive on this team. I really want you guys to be more right more often than I am. Because when I tell you guys, oh, they're going to be a fourth place team or they're going to be a seventh place team, or like last year when Joe and I were predicting them to be ninth and 10th place team, we want them to be where a lot of you guys want them to be. I also want them to be a championship. I want them to win a title. It hurts me every day. It hurts me every day that Boston is ahead of us. I want them to win a title now. I just don't want to lie to the audience from myself. I don't want to tell them something that I don't believe in 100%. I want to tell them everything that I have studied and analyzed, that what tells me the way I think that this season will currently go. The Lakers do
Hell
have a
yeah,
chance.
Gerald.
They're very competitive, but they need more, in my opinion, before you could put them as a title contender. But if certain things happen, if a Jokic gets hurt, an SGA gets hurt, uh, players on Houston don't produce now that they got some of them got a nice fat contract, then you may be talking about a door opening even wider for Luka and the Lakers to step into. And that's the way I'm analyzing these things. So
Win,
again,
Gerald.
I cannot
Love your
go by
opinion.
belief. I have to go by what I see. So
You're a facts man. You're not a feels
yes,
man
I'm a
like
faction.
me.
I'm and that's just me. That's just me.
Nah, and we
That's
and we
me.
love it, and that's why this show has such diverse opinions, and you can have such a great chat. There's a lot of laughter about Jake Lasagna and Lawrence of Arabia and all sorts of, or Lawrence of
And a good question,
Moravia have.
Legend. What if Smart is worse than Goodwin, which is a very real possibility. He's only played 54 games in two
Nah,
seasons. So
nah. Well,
okay.
look, you can ask that question in every instance about everyone, but on the surface of it, okay, I just kind of ask it this way: if you were given the chance to bring in Goodwin or Smart, who would you bring in
Oh,
every
by
single
his
day of
name
the
only,
week?
you would bring in Smart. But let me just finish with this, and I'll let you go ahead, my friend. If the Lakers next summer have Laravia, well, I think it's a 2-year guaranteed on him. If they have Ayton, they have Smart pick up their contracts. That's not a good season for the Lakers because they've had pretty miserable seasons. If they pick up their contracts next year, that's not a good sign for the Lakers, and I'll just leave it at that.
Fair
Because
enough.
they're looking for fat paychecks. They're looking for fat paychecks next summer, and if
Yeah.
they don't do enough to
Uh,
earn it, then yeah,
no,
that could be a problem.
I still can't get my head around that anyone can put like those two even in the same breath. They're a different caliber of player. Okay, the last 2 seasons hasn't shown what Marcus Smart can do, but the guy's won a Defensive Player of the Year award. Like that's not a bad effort, is it? As a guard, I don't know how many guards win Defensive Player of the Year. So yeah, look, again, maybe it's facts versus feels, but for me, Marcus Smart's a better player. We're gonna miss Sports Baby, who's been absent in chat. We'll just call him out right now. We're going to miss his good winner call. But aside from that, I'm not going to miss too much a good win, Gerald. And I'll go back to, I don't know if it was game 5 against Minnesota. I think it might have been game 4. But there was one of the most horrific inbound plays I've ever seen when he passed it to, I can't remember who, he passed it to the opposition. They scored. That was a joke. And I haven't forgiven him for it. And I won't. So, Goodwin, we might somehow get you back on the team, but give me a break. He wasn't, when we're talking about a squad put together to win a chip, he wasn't a part of it for me. I'm sorry, and
Okay.
and that's it. Yeah.
Well, he can't be re-signed on a two-way, so because he has more
Okay.
years in the league, so he's either signed to a contract or he's not on it. And at this point, he's probably going to be signed elsewhere. So I wish him the best of luck indeed. But this hot dogs was in the chat saying about that he thinks, calm down, everyone. This is not a finished roster for
Yeah.
now, with only one spot available and it being a veterans minimum. It pretty much is a finished roster unless somehow Rob in the month of August or month of September gets a miraculous deal thrown his way. I don't see this roster changing or altering very much up into training camp. Do you?
No. Mm, no, but I at the same time I still don't know. We're sort of the uh, the news cycle is such that we might make up tomorrow, or I might check WhatsApp and you've posted, Gerald, that we've made another trade. I don't think we can sort of rule it out because at any moment there could be
No,
a
nothing
trade.
to be ruled out in as far
No,
as it's the NBA, but I think
uh,
it's more likely that this is the roster going in the training camp. And I will say again, Hot Dog says we have a lot of expiring. That's what we've been talking about for weeks now. Hot Dogs on this channel is I've gone back and forth with Joe on this. Earlier this summer, when you had those expiries, you should have tried to go ahead and get more help for Luke and LeBron at that point in time. But now that the draft's over, now that the bulk of free agency is over, I have a feeling they're holding on to those contracts because they're looking towards 26, 27. And only if the Lakers are going to be, come February and the trade deadline, competing at a really high level, Mark, I really don't see them utilizing or really pushing on those teams that want that cap space, those expiring contracts until then at this point. I think it's pretty much this roster solidified outside of that one spot. And who knows, Rob may just want to keep that spot open because a lot of GMs like to keep that one spot open for a breaking case of emergency type deal. So again, I hope that he will exercise those expiring contracts sometime during the season, but most likely it won't be until February when we have a better idea exactly what this team will be.
yeah, for sure. But we'll see how that plays out. Yeah, like I keep saying, yeah, we do analyze the game a bit differently. I grew up with soccer and obviously Australian sports, but I have been following basketball a long time. I just look at it, and if you said to me, and it's not a game of 5 people, but if we can put our best 5, I think is better or as good as anyone's best five. Okay, you might break it down, and obviously OKC, yeah, they got a better center than we do. But I keep saying this: we've got the best player in the world, Luka Doncic. So if you got Luka and he's the best player in the world, you're always a chance. You're telling me LeBron James is still a top 10 player. You got an elite scorer there in AR. You got a Rui who's, man, Rui's he's in my top three players. Absolutely love Rui, love the discipline, love the way he acts. And then you've got a motivated Aiton. So that's how I know it's not a team of five people, but I'm just saying we've got a top end elite talent because we've got a Luka Doncic, a 26-year-old Luka Doncic. And man, it's still insane that that's happening. Can you imagine if we were going into this season with this squad with AD? I think we'd be feeling a lot worse. So yeah, we'll keep staying positive, Gerald, and we'll see if a trade happens, man. But I think it's more about Luca than anyone else right now.
Kyle says, I think AR and Rui is staying just because waiting till LBJ leaves. Well, again, when LBJ leaves, they'll be free agents themselves. So again, I really think that AR is going to ask. I didn't say he deserves it, but I'd say if I was him and he has another 25-5 season or right around there, I'd say he's going to go out and ask. His representative is going to ask for above around 30. And if that's the case, that's probably too rich for Rob's blood. It would be too rich for mine if I'm running the Lakers. And then you make the call, let him go. I think they should have utilized him and Rui in trades earlier this summer when you had more opportunities and more players available to trade for. But again, I think this is looking more and more like what's going to be. Again, it gives, for lack of a better term, for all the stuff I've said and all the stuff Mark said, having those expiring contracts going into the season, it does give you flexibility. As you get close to the trade deadline, if you are competing for a title, you can utilize those expiring contracts, the guys, the backup ones or the starting ones, for players that could help you win now. Now, if they decide the Lakers are a fourth or a fifth or a sixth or a seventh place team at that point in time, guess what? The Lakers are going to probably keep all those guys and just have that cap space come off, which would lead to about $100 million in the summer of 2026. That's open for cap space. So
yeah, so it's just we're in a, like that saying, we're sort of between a rock and a hard place, or a rob and a hard place, maybe, if you want to put it that way. And they're trying to make the best of a pretty unique situation with an aging superstar on 52 mil. So I don't know, man. As we keep saying, let's just see what happens. There's time to make the trade that you want. I still feel like we should be positive right now. So we'll see. But yeah, like I keep saying, for me, it's all about Luca. It's all about how Luca looks. We're going to get a bit of a touch in that in maybe 4 or so weeks' time, with the Euro Basketball Championships, which I know SB and yourself are planning to host on the playback channel. So we'll get an insight exactly on how Luca's looking then. And, if Luca potentially has the ability to raise his game to a 35-point, a night on average scorer, you throw in 10 assists, now it starts looking real good real quick. And I'll keep saying this: he played with a broken heart. Hopefully that heart's mended. Hopefully he's falling in love with LA. Every time I see him, I get
well,
that sense.
if he accepts a extension next month, then
That's
that will
Gerald.
tell you a lot what you need to know.
Man, if he does that, then I'm gonna be even more bullish than I am now, man. I'm gonna
When
be
it's more
through
financially
the roof.
viable to wait, if he signs next, even though he can make a lot more money, if he signs and says, you know what, I just want to sign and commit to this team now, that will tell me a lot about how Luca feels about being on the Lakers right there.
Yeah, fair call.
Uh,
Anyway, Gerald, you
Joe said,
probably, it's late for
Mark
you,
bet.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's 1:15 in the morning. I'm going to go right here in a second. But Mark bet 2,000 Australian dollars on what? Lakers winning a championship.
He's asking me to do it, but I actually did put 500 on them, returning 7.5 grand. So let's go, baby. I mean, what's doing there? as soon as I saw the odds that we were behind Orlando, I couldn't stop laughing, man. I could have dropped if I had 10 grand. I would have dropped it over it, man. Don't give me those sort of odds, man. Behind Orlando, far out. We're right up there,
Uh,
Gerald. We're still a chance.
yes, if I
This
can
is the
type it
Lakers.
in correctly, yes, we do go. We do have every game on playback during the regular season for the Lakers. If I can
Hell
type
yeah.
that in correctly, right there, I'll put it in
Yeah.
for you. Yes,
You might wanna,
there you go. There's without the
nice.
typos.
Turkey's
Playback.tv
there.
/ Lakers fast break right there for you. But
Join
yes,
us,
great
man. It's
question.
such good fun. The playbacks, hey, and you get characters like SB. You get Shauno, John Costa will join, Stone, Laker Zach. Searchy if he wants to join,
And of course,
Jade,
Joe comes
Doobie,
on there and destroys the whole
and
thing.
Joe.
Yeah.
No, well, he's a big part of it. So it's great fun, man. It changes. It actually makes the viewing much more enjoyable. So
And
please
I'll
join us
leave you
there.
this as my Australian friends again. Great to see Dean from Australia. Aussie, I'm Joe's on Facebook. Jeremy's out there. Mark and Sports Baby. I'll leave you with this: is Giddy the best player in the world according to Sports Baby?
Look, he's the best player in Australia. We can say that with confidence, right? Can I? Yeah, I can personally, absolutely. Giddy, he's a unique player, Gerald. He's a bit of an old school player. The way he's quite laconic in the way he moves. But I admire it. I admire it. Whether or not this NBA suits a Josh Giddey in the long run, obviously he's going to earn his money and be a decent player. Whether or not he's going to be someone that can impact a championship, I still believe that he was left out to dry. And I always say this by OKC. I don't care what anyone says. I still think they would have been as serviceable this year with him. Feel like, they left him hang out to dry during that playoff series. I really, really do. But he is, I'm going a bit too positive here, but he's Australia's best current player.
Then how come Chicago hasn't signed him?
There's again, I don't know if it's, just the sort of, there's money, there's something going on there, something not quite right. But ultimately, he's going to get signed for a nice contract, Gerald. And if he does, I think, that type of contract that they're looking at, the 30 odd million a year, he becomes Australia's most high paid sportsman, potentially the F1 driver who's winning right now. It looks like he might win the championship, the young Australian driver.
Oh, you mean
Might
it's not the Verstappen League right now? Oh, wow.
Well, no, not this year. It has been
Not
for a
this year.
long
I know.
time, and
I
shout
know.
out to Verstappen. He loves Barca, but that's his only good point. But yeah, like man, Giddy,
I've
top
watched him
top
drive here
talent.
in Vegas. Very
Yeah,
skilled.
yeah,
One of
hell
the
yeah,
best
Giddy.
drivers I've seen this century. So
Yeah. Nah, look, the young guy, his name is Oscar. I get his last name wrong because it's similar to the South
I know what you're
African
talking about. He's
runner.
in the orange car.
Yeah, the McLaren.
Yeah.
And he's
Yes.
leading the championship right now. He won every division up until getting into the F1, and he's only,
Yeah.
I think he's 22, 23. So
Oh,
he's like a,
lifetime.
a prestigious talent. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
very, very special. So, but man, Giddy's, definitely he's the pride of Australia in a basketball sense. But at the end of the day, we've had some extremely good years in the NBA from an Australian perspective. We're a little bit leaner than we are now than years gone by. So guys like Giddy and that, we'll follow to the end of the earth. That's what we do being Aussies. That's what you guys do following your players.
Absolutely. Big shout out to Search and Destroy, Kaio, Trojan Fight. What's going on, my friend? Fight on, Trojans, fight on. USC thing. I want to go ahead and say before we head on out one last thing. The reason why I say about AR, he's going to go ahead and if I was his representative, I'm thinking it from the aspect of if I was sitting down, because I've talked with people over the past couple of years at Summer League about him. I've had conversations with people that really go ahead and dissect the league in regards to him in previous times, about him as a person and his representatives. If I was his representative, I'm just going to say this, Kyle. if you were his representative, we were talking to him. It's not about just loyalty in this league because you've seen where teams will they will literally trade you in a heartbeat and just trade that loyalty away. He is 27 years old, going into his year 28 season. He'll be 28 in May of next year. So when he goes out in next summer for a contract, he'll be 28 years old. With a guy that's undrafted, Mark, he will probably only have one chance at a multi-year contract as far as a 4 or 5 year sweet, high-paying deal for him. Because by the time he gets out of it, he's going to be 32, 33, and already on the downside of his career. So you have to look at this from a financial perspective to set you up for the rest of your life. Loyalty is great, Kyle. Loyalty is absolutely fantastic. And I understand we're talking about millions of dollars here as far as 25, 27, what you're asking for. But if you're his representatives, you're doing him justice, Mark. If I'm representing you and I'm doing you justice, I'm trying to get you the best deal possible, understanding that it could be, if you're my client at that age, you might be the only chance I get a fat percentage from you going forward. Because after that, on the other side, you're 32 and 33, and who knows how you will be a player at that point in time, Mark. So you have to look at it financially. This is his one big chance to cash in. And if I was Austin Reeves, I would let my representatives try to do that. And whether or not you get it, that's another question. Whether or not you get the 32, 33, $30 million is another question, Kyle. I don't think he's worth it. But again, you're going to ask. Sometimes if you ask in this league, as we've seen, you do get a chance. You do get overpaid. There are people that will overpay to get your services if they really do like you, Mark. If let's say an Orlando, or let's say a Memphis, or let's say a Chicago, or let's say some team out there really likes you, guess what? They overpay to bring you in to your team.
Oh, for sure, man. I mean, that's obvious why he's playing this season, but I don't know if KO is exactly wrong too. Like, and I've always thought that about AR. He wants to play his whole career in LA, Gerald. And sometimes players can make monetary sacrifices if they want to do those kind of things. Now, I'm not saying he's going to half his contract to play for LA, but I think we got to give him, a little bit of benefit of the doubt. He is a loyal character. Everything he says, he always says he wants to be a Laker for life. Obviously,
He
when
took
you
a cut. He took a pay cut once to come back to the Lakers
yeah, man, that's what I'm
last time.
saying. And Joe, the thing that I think with him
Will
is,
he do
wouldn't
that again? Is it in his
is he quite
financial best interest to do that again?
is he wealthy by background? Is his parents wealthy? They were basketball players. I
Just a
don't know,
normal
man.
Arkansas,
Just
as
okay.
Kaio said in the comments. Arkansas's kid went to Oklahoma.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, then at the same time, he might not value money like other people do. I don't know, man. He strikes me as
But
someone
this
that
is to
might
set up
take.
your family for generations. This is generational money we're talking about. And even from let's just say a $25 million deal to a $32 million deal. Let's just say a $25 to $32 million deal. While it's just seven numbers, that is 28 to $35 million over the course of a 5 year period that you could
But what
be
happens
earning.
if you become a Laker legend? How is that
Is, is,
money that's
is
worth more
Austin
than
Reeves
30
going to
million?
become a
Well, okay, hang on a second. If we just hypothetically, we look down the track, 5 years down the track, we've won 3 chips. AR's been a part of that. The dude's a Laker legend, man. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's looking at it from a different perspective, Gerald. Maybe he's seeing that, okay, if I stay in LA, it's worth more to me than taking the money now and going to Orlando. I mean, he's pretty famous right now, AR, because he does play in a Laker uniform. There's got to be endorsements and stuff that he gets off that. I don't know, man. I know again, facts versus feels,
Oh, he's got
and
shoe deals. He's got,
facts wins.
he's got
Yeah, yeah,
he's
he's
got
got
other stuff.
deals and
Yeah.
stuff. Surely like his marketing potential is way more in a Laker uniform than any other jersey. I mean, if he goes to Orlando, if he goes to
somewhere
uh,
else, just somewhere
yeah,
else, just
New
somewhere else.
Orleans, for example, he becomes irrelevant, Gerald. He's not irrelevant now. He's one of the most talked about players in the league, AR 15, because he plays on the Lakers. So
But
I don't
what
know,
at
man. I
what
think
price
we got to give
does
him a bit
that?
of faith.
What? Let me ask you: how much do you pay for? How much do you give up for relevancy, my friend? I will say this: Alex Caruso wanted to give the Lakers a hometown discount, and what did they do? They went to THT instead. So
Let's
yeah,
not make that mistake again,
that's fine.
ever.
I'm just saying that. I'm just again, if I was his representatives, and that's the way I would look at it, I'm trying to maximize him out for his probably one and only chance to get a multi-year, multi-generational contract of we're talking $100 million plus.
Yeah,
So if that's the case, you have to think, okay, are the Lakers going to go all in on the players? Again, this season will dictate it all. We could have a very different conversation come the end of this season. He could have performed great, could done it well in the playoffs, which has been one of his caveats, and go from there. We could be having a very different conversation, but I have to see
for
things as
sure.
I see them now, and I have to see things what I've been told behind the scenes about what process they may go through. He does, again, he already has committed to the Lakers, has given them a discount over what he could have been offered the last time he took a contract. Is he going to do that again? So, and I'll just leave it at that. So,
He has been
AR, I
linked with
believe
a lot
AR,
of
yeah. Well, they all
famous
have
women.
shoes deals, Jeremy. Yeah.
They do,
Is
but
it
like,
is
yeah,
that a Chinese one? Hold
I
on, let me see if it
yeah,
is.
look it up. But he's been linked with the likes of Taylor Swift and that. He might get a little sugar mama happening too.
Uh,
That might
uh,
supplement the
Taylor
seven
is
million
currently
bucks, mate.
occupied. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Jessica Alba's not, so have a crack, man.
Well, I thought
But
she was seeing some younger guy, some
oh,
younger actor.
oh, really? Okay. Damn it.
Let
Oh
me.
well.
That's why I heard this. Like, was it like? I heard this like yesterday or today. Let me see. Orlando. No, Orlando Bloom might be dating Jessica. That's around
Oh
her
wow.
age. So there you go.
Katy Perry to
Yeah.
Jessica
Yeah.
Alba. My God.
Oh,
What a
but Danny
shame.
Ramirez, if you know him as the Falcon from Captain America: Brave New World, that's who was supposedly dating Jessica Alba. So yeah, there you go.
Man.
Uh,
Sorry to
all
get
right.
it.
No, it's celebrity gossip. We love it at the end of the show. So
Yeah.
it is, of course, the Lakers fast break. Yes, he is. Austin Reeves is, I think, still on a deal with a Chinese sneaker deal. So, um, hey, getting the money indeed. But again, we will see what happens. We could have a very different conversation. But if you guys have thoughts on it, whichever way, you like what we say, you like we don't like what we say, we're always here for you. Put it in the comments below. Make sure you like and subscribe. If you haven't yet subscribed, it really helps out the channel. We're here
Hell yeah.
again. I did this for Dean because I told him, gave my word.
Dino.
I'm not gonna be sure if I'm gonna do a show tonight, but I know that Mark, as I've told him recently, we've got a big special coming up soon behind the scenes. We're gonna do got a nice long show planned at some point in time in the near future. So that one's going to be a special deal. But as far as shows for the rest of the week, I'm sure I'll have at least two or so tucked in there for you guys. Jeremy
Unreal,
says
man.
Sydney Sweeney. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Um,
commented on that. Maybe don't read my
she's,
comment.
I guess, not into the rich older guys, Mark. So I'm sorry that, yeah, I guess she's getting so many of
Are
those
you
rich
talking
older
about me
guys.
or?
Yeah, rich older guys right there. Well, you are older than her. So, yes, there you go. So, and
I
you
think
are
she's
it,
richer than.
and you deal
I
with
think
the
she's richer than me,
monetary.
Gerald.
Okay. All right. All right. I'll leave it
I
at that.
do
What
give out loans and stuff, so if she wants a loan, come see me, and we'll do
I'm
more than
sure
a
you'll
loan.
give her. Yeah, I'm sure it's business will open up on that point in time. That's for sure.
Oh,
But
oh,
once again,
depending.
it is, of course, Marky Mark, aka Xbox, one of the great mods that we have here. Special shout out to Search and Destroy, special shout out to Sports Bay, but also biggest shout out to Marky Mark and Xbox. And then, of course, everybody in the chat. Big shout out to all the super chats. intel, bringing it home again. Serge, thank you so much for the super chat. Cannot thank you all enough. I did this for you guys, 1:30 in the morning. I'm happy to do so always because you guys are awesome. What can we do in the middle of the summer? Well, we did something for you here. What will happen next? I hope more things will happen, but I'm not sure. It's kind of that dead time outside of those restricted free agents. It's kind of that dead time right now. So we'll see if there's anything left for the Lakers to do, but we'll keep talking about it. We'll be on more this week. I don't know when, but we will. I don't want to say tomorrow and just have to hold myself to it. So we'll see. When there's something good we can chat about, we will. We'll have it up for you. We'll always be glad to be a part of your Lakers day right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.